kid-by-kid commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Manchester City from Craven Cottage. We're delighted to be back after the international break, of course. 2 weeks since the last action in the Premier League, so let's remind ourselves exactly what happened.
Towards Wilson, picked up here by Solanke, trying to find a yard to shoot, still has possession. King now finds the far corner, and it's a second goal for Bournemouth. They lead here 2-1. One final throw of the dice, but the whistles will now go up around the Vitality. Home fans calling for the whistle from Mike Dean. Diedlin delivered into the area. Towards the far post, Ritchie there! Oh my gosh! Against his old club, Matt Ritchie grabs the equaliser right at the end of this game.
Ricardo Pereira down the line to Tielemans, crosses again, loops up, chance for a goal, it is a goal! And on his 700th appearance, Wes Morgan has completely broken the hearts of Burnley. But Leicester City go 2-1 up in the most dramatic of fashions here.
It's Gylfi Sigurdsson against Kepa, and the goalkeeper saves, but Sigurdsson puts in the rebound, and it's 2-0 to Everton. James Milner, usually so reliable from 12 yards. Here comes Milner, and it's a captain's goal for Liverpool. It could be a huge one come the end of the season. Grant to the edge of the box. Oh, what a goal! What a goal by Karlan Grant! And with 65 minutes gone, the improbable scoreline at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Huddersfield Town 3. Creswell will take the corner with his left foot. It's an outswinger. There's the header, and it's in. O'Connor has got West Ham United back into the game. Nasri into the box. Chance goal! Javier Hernandez with a diving header. It's 3-3. Corner is taken short to Felipe Anderson, who chips it into the box. It's in! West Ham United have done it. And it's Javier Hernandez again. West Ham United have gone from being 3-1 down to leading by 4 goals to 3.
And of course the big news since then in the Premier League has been the appointment of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as permanent manager of Manchester United on a 3-year contract on Thursday, and he says the club is all about winning trophies.
I'm just going to be myself, as I've always been, and I know how the expectations of the club, traditions of the club, the history we've got. Of course I want to be successful, of course I want us to lift trophies, but I can't wait to get onto the job, onto the challenge of improving this great bunch of players, because it's a squad full of potential that I work with them for 3 months, or we have worked for 3 months, the staff as a group, and the improvement is there to be seen. We know there's so much more to come from them. We can see so much more improvement, because we see them every single day in training. The attitude has been fantastic, but we know we've got a way to go. But lifting a trophy I'm sure we'll be successful
this season.
We've got a chance, of course we have. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a mountain to climb, but we've climbed a few mountains before.
Rufus Brevitt alongside me, Tim Long here. It did become a question, Rufus, of when rather than if for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being appointed as permanent manager of Manchester United, but it comes off the back of back-to-back defeats as well, doesn't it? And everybody's saying it becomes a very different job now, and the real work starts here for Ole.
Yeah, that's right. He's had a fantastic start, hasn't he? What's he had? 19 games, 14 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses. The 2 losses come in, recently. So, that's when you earn your money. When you're losing games, can you bounce back? And I'm sure, with the squad that he's got there, I'm sure that they'll be bouncing back.
Having said that, still very early days, the earliest of days. Questions will be asked if they don't beat Watford at home in our feature game at 3 p.m. UK time this afternoon. If they don't go 3 games without a win.
Yeah, that's right. There's a little bit of pressure on them when you look at it. They've had a fantastic run of results of late, and then just lately they've hit a little stumbling block where they've lost 2 games, and this Watford game's a massive game for them today.
We'll look at the other fixtures across the 3 p.m. kickoffs now as well. Brighton against Southampton, a huge 6-pointer of a South Coast derby. A win for Brighton would see them within touching distance of safety. A win for the Saints would keep them outside the bottom 3.
Yeah, it's again, you look at it and it's so tight down there. If you win a couple of games, you think you're out of it, and then you lose a couple of games, and you're back down. It's a massive game, that one today.
Burnley against Wolves. The Clarets have very quickly become the Premier League's sinking stone themselves. 4 straight defeats, having not lost in 8 before that. They're just 2 points above the drop zone, having played a game more.
Again, it's just like what I said. There was a point where they've been up and down, Burnley. They've been up and down results-wise. Performance-wise, I think they've been a level field. But yeah, there was a time when they went on a fantastic run and think, oh yeah, we're safe. And then all of a sudden now they've been drawn back into it. And Wolves, Wolves, we know what Wolves have done this season.
But that has to be a huge concern, doesn't it, that their big dip comes at this point in the season?
And that's the thing. I mean, early in the season you can near enough correct it because you've got time, but now you're running out of games. This is where you've got to put your performances in. Well, not so much performances, get results.
Crystal Palace against Huddersfield is also a 3 p.m. kick-off. The Eagles get the win in this one, and they're as good as safe. Yeah,
that's right, and I think they'll be looking to do that. Huddersfield, planning for next season. So it'll be a game here where Palace know that if they get the result today, they're nice and safe.
And the final 3 p.m. kickoff today is Leicester against Bournemouth. 2 teams still fighting to finish in the top 7, potentially. Leicester just 3 points behind Wolves for that spot. Bournemouth 6 points off that potential Europa League place.
Yeah, well, you look at Brendan Rodgers has come in there at Leicester, and he'll want to finish as high as possible. So there'll be no plain sailing. They'll all be looking to get the points on the board.
And the same can be said for the late kick-off today, 5:30 p.m. UK time. West Ham just 2 points off 7th. Everton a further 2 points behind them.
Yeah, again, it's so tight. You look at it at the bottom, and then you've got the teams in the middle fighting to get into the 7th spot. So again, it's all to play for.
How much do you think those teams would want to get 7th? Wolves, Leicester, Bournemouth, West Ham, Everton?
I think they would. I think it's an achievement. A lot of people say getting into the Europa League isn't really, if you look what it's done to Burnley, but I'm sure they'll want to get in there.
You've got teams there with real ambition, haven't you, trying to build things. Wolves, Leicester and West Ham. You think of Everton as well with all the money that's coming in. That's the next step, isn't it?
That is the next step, because when you get there and then you kick on from there, but you've got to get there first.
Tomorrow it's Cardiff against Chelsea. Plenty on the line for both teams in that one. Cardiff just 2 points inside the bottom 3. Chelsea just 3 points outside the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy place to go to, Cardiff, Neil Warnock's got them playing really well, and you know that it's going to be a difficult game there. So, it won't be plain sailing for Chelsea.
And of course, the big one this weekend, Liverpool against Tottenham tomorrow. Liverpool looking to keep themselves ahead of Manchester City at the top. Spurs in a real scrap to keep hold of their place in the top 4.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a time when Spurs thought, being in the top 4 was guaranteed. Now, with the results that have gone on of late, they're going to need to get something at Liverpool.
And on Monday night, Arsenal looking to hold off the challenge of Manchester United and Chelsea to keep their spot in 4th, looking for a 10th straight home win in the Premier League as they take on Newcastle.
Yeah, and they've been very good at home, Arsenal. They've had some good performances, scored a lot of goals. So again, they'll be looking to kick on and continue their progress at home.
And it's a double week for some of the teams this week. On Tuesday, Wolves against Manchester United and Watford against Fulham as well. And then on Wednesday, Tottenham against Palace, Chelsea against Brighton and Manchester City against Cardiff. OK, let's turn our attentions now back to the first game of the weekend and hear from the two managers, Manchester City's Pep Guardiola and Fulham's Scott Parker.
I think we all understand the likelihood where we are and where we will be next year. But at the same time, I said it, the last game, one result can springboard, and while it's still possible, we'll fight and we'll drive as much as we can.
We're going to play 11 games, sure, definitely 11. And if we deserve to play 12, maybe 14, but maybe 15. But to happen that, you have to deserve it. But we're going to play 11 games, 8 left for the Premier League, so game by game we'll see what happens.
Well, there has no doubt been an upturn in performance levels since Scott Parker was given the Fulham job until the end of the season. As we've said, he says they'll fight until it's mathematically possible, but I think we all know there'll be a championship team next season. Is it an audition for the job for him now?
Well, I think he's just got to win as many games as possible. Obviously, he'd love to take them be the manager into the Championship and have the opportunity to bring them back. But, they've, as you say, the performances have got better, but the results have really still been the same.
Such a tough league to get out of course, the Championship, and Fulham would go down there with a squad you would think is capable of winning promotion. The question is whether they can keep hold of some of the players. They've spent an awful lot of money this season without the results.
And that's the thing, they've over £100 million they've spent, and when you spend in that kind of money, you would have thought you'd survive in the Premier League. They haven't, and there's going to be some real rebuilding at the end of the season.
Let me ask you specifically about Ryan Sessegnon, a player that, as a teenager, a young teenager, absolutely dominated the Championship last season. What have you made of his adaptation to the Premier League this season?
I think I've seen him a few times. I think he's been poor, to be fair. I think, when you look at what he did in the Championship, there was talk of him moving on to bigger and better clubs. He decided to stay at Fulham,
and rightly so. Surely.
Yeah, rightly so. I think he's right, because I think if you, at that age, if you move to a top 3, top 4 team, you're not necessarily going to play every week. He's had the opportunity to do that at Fulham in the Premier League. I don't think he's been that good. But in saying that, the team hasn't been good.
And in saying that as well, he is still only 18.
Yes.
He's played in the Premier League this season, provided 5 assists, scored a couple of goals. A lot of 18-year-olds wouldn't even be getting a chance at this level.
No, that's right, and he has. He's come in, but I just think when you look at his performances in the Championship, it's a massive step up. And there's times where he's been starting, coming off at half time, and he's the one that's always come off. He's played at left back, he's played at the top of the 3, he's played left midfield. I think that's the problem as well. I think he's got to get a position where this is your position and you go and do a job there.
A huge opportunity to impress against Manchester City today. Ryan Sessegnon in the Fulham starting lineup. No Mitrovic for them, though. Let's look at Manchester City. Liverpool start the weekend top by 2 points. City, though, have the game in hand, which comes at home against Cardiff on Wednesday. Liverpool face Tottenham tomorrow. Who's got the advantage?
I think, you look at it, I think Manchester City, I think the way that they're playing in this game today, you would think that they'll win this game today, but then you look at the game tomorrow, Liverpool, there's no guarantees that they'll beat Tottenham, so I think Manchester City are in the driving seat.
Let's look at the remaining fixtures. Manchester City have Fulham today, obviously, Cardiff in midweek, Palace, then a really difficult 2 of Tottenham and Manchester United, Burnley, Leicester and Brighton. For Liverpool, it's Tottenham tomorrow, as we know, Southampton, Chelsea, Cardiff, Huddersfield, Newcastle, Wolves. So you look at those fixtures, both of the two teams have 2 big clubs. City have the game in hand, but Liverpool also have Wolves, which we know is about as tricky as it gets outside the top 6.
That's right, and you know, when you've gone through them fixtures, but there's no easy game. When you look at it, there's no easy game. But I just think the way Manchester City are playing and their squad, I just think that they've just about got the upper hand.
Manchester City today will look to make it 12 straight wins in all competitions. They will look to make it 8 straight wins and go back to the top of the Premier League. OK, it's been 2 weeks then without Premier League action, but fear not, the greatest league in the world returns in around 5 minutes' time. Kickoff between Fulham and Manchester City is coming right up after this. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. It's the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there.
Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourite?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Manchester City from Craven Cottage. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, the former Fulham QPR and West Ham fullback Rufus Brevett. This is Premier League Live. Ahead of the two sets of players making their way out here, let's take a final check on the two teams. For Fulham, it's Sergio Rico in goal, a back four of Fosu Mensah, Chambers, Limarchant and Bryan. We are thinking it might now be four across the midfield of Christie, Zambo Anguissa, Kearney and Sessegnon, with Babel and Aite up top. For Manchester City, Edison the goalkeeper, the back four Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Zinchenko, the midfield De Bruyne, Gundogan and David Silva, and the front three of Bernardo Silva, Aguero and Sterling. The players just going through the pre-match formalities underneath the bright and warm sun in the capital. This is it now. No more breaks on the road to greatness. As many as 15 games in 64 days across 3 competitions stand between Manchester City and an unprecedented quadruple. This is the first one that must be ticked off that list. 8 to go in the Premier League. Even just one little slip would put Liverpool in pole position. There will be far more glamorous encounters, of course, to come over the next couple of months, but these fixtures sometimes represent the biggest of banana skins. Keeping poise under pressure and diligent despite other distractions is crucial. It is no doubt a fixture that demands maximum focus at Craven Cottage this afternoon, Rufus.
Yeah, that's right, and it's, you know, they've got to look at this game. There's no guarantees, especially with Man City, the way they're performing. If they take their eye off the ball, then Fulham will pounce, and it could be a difficult game. As you say, it could be a banana skin.
Fulham in their usual colours, the white shirts with the black hoop across the front, black shorts as well. Manchester City in the very dark blue today with the fluorescent green and sky blue trim. And we are ready to get this one underway. Soaring temperatures in the capital, up to around 18 degrees Celsius. We expect here today. It feels like a start of season affair. Manchester City are soaring towards the summit. A relentless run of games in all competitions. Still on course for the quadruple. And today looking to go back top of the Premier League. And they will get us underway. Kicking off and attacking the goal across to our left. Fulham attacking the goal across to our right. City start with the ball. David Silva moving it out to Sterling on the near side. And already a biting challenge on this near side from Ayite as Fulham look to let Manchester City know that they're here.
Well, they're closing them down high. They're not letting them have the ball at the back, as we've seen teams do. They've decided to press them high.
Gundogan takes it down in the centre of the City half, and it's a stray pass out to the near side, recovered by Ayite. City quick to try and pinch it back. The challenge is flying in the centre of the park, and City emerge with the ball. De Bruyne now slips it forward. An early attempt at a through ball to get Bernardo Silva in behind the back of the Fulham defence. Fulham able to clear their lines, and a chance maybe for Ryan Babel. He was offside, and Ederson was flying out of his penalty area by a good 10 yards or so, looking to kick the ball away as it bounced towards him. And Manchester City, to a certain extent, bailed out by the assistant's flag.
Yeah, it was a long ball from Rico over the top. Babel just found himself offside, but as Ederson came flying out, he just completely missed the ball. And the linesman flag was up.
Tony Parker, or Scott Parker rather, already on the edge of his technical area, directing traffic on this near side, and looking to try and keep his Fulham team organised as Manchester City try to play through the lines. It's Sterling onto his right foot, twisting and turning, looking to get the cross in. It's blocked and deflected away. Gundogan will flick it back towards De Bruyne on the D. Walker halfway inside the Fulham half. The step overs now from Bernardo Silva on the right wing. Back to Walker it goes. Everybody but the two centre-backs for Manchester City forward here. Kyle Walker, as they pass the ball around in their fluorescent green socks. It's intercepted on the edge of the Fulham penalty area and pinched back straight away by De Bruyne. This is the big challenge for Fulham once they do get their foot on the ball, is to try and find an outlet.
Well, this is what Manchester City do so well. When they lose the ball, they get it back really quickly.
David Silva in field. Gundogan swiftly moves it across to the far side to Bernardo Silva. Plays a 1-2 with De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva again looking to dribble away from Sessegnon. And then he tries to skip round the challenge of Joe Bryan as well, and wins a corner for Manchester City 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah, it's nice and pat. You see what Fulham are doing. They're getting everyone behind the ball and saying break us down. But we know the quality that Manchester City have got.
And the corner will be taken by Kevin De Bruyne. We know the quality that he's got. Available after a hamstring injury here. It's a low one in towards Aguero at the near post. Drilled in then by Zinchenko. Blocked on the edge of the Fulham penalty area as they try and clear it away to Ayite, who does really well to hold it up. Now Babel. Manchester City having to scamper back as he switches the play across to the far side to the teenager Sessegnon. Here's Kenny, the captain. Forward to Sessegnon. This is nice from Fulham, but City are back behind the ball now.
Yeah, they are. Fulham did well there under pressure. Kept the ball. And as you see, Manchester City for the first, as soon as they lose the ball for about 5 seconds, they're like little rats trying to get the ball back.
It's incredible not just to have that kind of intensity, but to keep it going throughout the course of the season in all 4 competitions, as Aguero puts pressure on Sergio Rico, the Fulham goalkeeper, who gives it away. Aguero has it back just inside the penalty area. The cavalry arriving, and it's blocked just in front of Rico. The shot from Aguero, he didn't catch it cleanly. Danger still not really away. Gundogan. Fulham have everybody back behind the ball now. They survived that particular scare.
It's very hard to play without the ball when you're chasing the ball. That lack of concentration, and then gaps will open up for Manchester City to exploit.
Sterling on the left flank. Stuck to ever so tightly by Christie, and the throw-in has gone Fulham's way here in their right-back position.
And it was a fantastic ball from Kyle Walker to Aguero in the box. Just played it to Silva on this right-hand side. Played it back to Aguero, but he just scuffed his shot, and I think he got cleared off the line.
It was Fosu Mensah who got the clearance. He was right in front of Sergio Rico, the goalkeeper, so Rico may well have saved it, but we're not to know that. Fosu Mensah doing a good job of getting into the right position, but Aguero didn't catch it cleanly, did he?
He didn't catch it cleanly. I think if he did, then normally it ends up in the back of the net.
28 goals in all competitions this season for Sergio Aguero. 15 of those have come since the turn of the year. Here he is again now, turning on the edge of the Fulham box onto Bernardo Silva. He's in a rich vein of form as well, and that continues with a fantastic strike from 20 yards as he drills it low into the bottom corner of the Fulham net. The international break has done little to cool red-hot Manchester City, and Bernardo is burning hot as well. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
I think the team talk's gone out the window, and I think it's just what Fulham didn't want. Mensah has got the ball under no pressure, plays it into midfield. It's a loose pass, De Bruyne picks it up, and then it's a Silva on the right-hand side, cuts inside. It's a low, hard drive into the corner. It's a fantastic finish, but it's all from a mistake from Mensah, who played a loose pass into midfield. A fantastic strike, 1-0 Man City.
Bernardo Silva scores for the 3rd straight game. A big money signing from Monaco a couple of summers ago, really eased into the Premier League last season, but he's looking like a worthy successor perhaps to David Silva now over the years to come.
I think every time I've seen him play, I've been very impressed with not just his ability on the ball, his work rate off the ball is very, very high.
Well, we knew already it was going to be a huge task for Fulham. It really is a mountain to climb now. They trail after just 5 minutes. Bernardo Silva's 6th Premier League goal of the campaign. Just seeing the replay, the flag stayed down on the far side. There were 3 City players in offside position in front of the goal, although I'm not sure any of them were really blocking the view of the Fulham keeper Sergio Rico.
Yeah, no, I think that would have been harsh if that had gone up. There wasn't really interfering. Yes, they were in offside position, but it was a death shot from Bernardo Silva.
Given away by Fulham again. Here's Raheem Sterling dribbling into a number 10 position, edge of the D. De Bruyne tried to strike it, might still break for Sterling. And Fulham really with last-ditch defending already. We've seen a few flying challenges inside their own penalty area. They're on the ropes after just a few minutes.
Fosu Mensah again, he's got the ball under no pressure, tries to pick someone out and he gets cut out, and again it sets Manchester City on the attack.
Laporte square to Otamendi. The 2 City centre-backs are both in the Fulham half. That's how dominant Manchester City are here. Here's Laporte again, on halfway. Very capable, dribbling the ball out from the back. The left footer on the left side of the defence. Now Sterling on the left side of the attack. Trapped by Christie. De Bruyne moves it on. Bernardo Silva, the goal scorer, back to Gundogan. 30 yards from goal. Nobody closes him down, but they do close Aguero down as soon as he gets it. Gundogan again. And Fulham are chasing shadows right now.
They just can't get near them, and it's the movement. It's the movement from Manchester City.
David Silva swiftly across to Bernardo Silva on the far side. In comes the cross, cleared away by Fulham, and they need to try and keep it here, and they've given it away inside their own penalty area. Here's Sterling, edge of the box, white shirt swarming around him, and his shot deflects away for a Manchester City corner.
And it's a loose pass again from Manchester City, from Fulham, go straight to a Manchester City player and again force the attack, and they've got a corner.
And the first corner was from the far side, the next one from this near side. De Bruyne will be the taker again, this time maybe an in-swinger. He takes it short though to Gundogan. Gundogan will get it in from the small patch of shade on this near side of Craven Cottage. The rest of the pitch bathed in sunshine. Gundogan curls it all the way towards the top of the crossbar, and it almost dropped out. Sergio Rico had to make sure as he stuck out a strong palm to deflect it over the top. It looked like he was shaping for the cross, but it almost went in.
Do you know what? We've seen De Bruyne, what he's got in the locker, and you wouldn't be surprised if he saw the goalkeeper and thought, you know what, I'll go for that.
Only his 8th Premier League start of this season. He's really suffered with injury. Kevin De Bruyne in the current campaign. What a boost to have him back for this huge run-in for Manchester City. Now swinging corner, might come to Sterling on the edge of the box here, shifts it away from one, closed down by a second and deflected away for another Manchester City corner. That is 4 in the first 9.5 minutes.
The amount of players at Fulham have got back defending this corner and no one's picking up Silva on the edge of the box. He's just got it there, didn't quite come down for him, got his shot off, got a deflection out for a corner.
We've seen a real variety of corner kicks already. Gundogan will take this one. Outswinging right-footed effort, conventional towards the head of Laporte, who actually reached it as it flew over a few Fulham heads, but he wasn't able to direct it effectively.
Yeah, it was an outswinging corner. He just couldn't get his head onto it and on target.
I'm just seeing a replay of the Bernardo Silva goal to open the scoring for Manchester City. Given away so poorly by Fosu Mensah, but you see the players I'm talking about there that may be in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. We'll get back to that in a moment because Aguero's on the attack again. Here's Sterling, near edge of the penalty area. Just over 10 minutes gone. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. Zinchenko, he gets the cross in just over the head of Aguero, cleared away as far as De Bruyne. Edge of the box is David Silva, now Gundogan. City moving the ball so fast you can hardly call the names here as they get towards the byline and drilling across near post from Bernardo Silva, deflected behind for their 5th corner already.
Fulham, Manchester City are absolutely unbelievable. They're moving the ball really quick, and the overlapping running they're running off the ball is very good, and there's no answer. Fulham have got no answer for it.
Had they not diverted that away, Sterling would have had a tap in. Zinchenko, he dinks it in from deep, although it's too much to try and reach. Chasing to get there, it's beyond and out of bounds for a goal kick. Otamendi was the player trying to stretch to reach it for Manchester City.
Yeah, Fulham really have got to stem this tide. They've got to get hold of the football, probably play in Manchester City's off, because when they try and get the ball and play into midfield, it gets cut out and then Manchester City are on it.
Fulham's goal kick straight to Otamendi, under no pressure. They'll pass it around at the back and start to move forward, and Fulham are hardly seeing the ball at all.
They've seen nothing of the football, and Manchester City, they get their rest when they've got the ball. When they haven't got it, so much energy to get it back.
To a certain extent it is what we expected in terms of the positions in the table and the form of these two teams, but even the most pessimistic of Fulham fans would have hoped they could keep City at bay a little bit better than this.
As I say, the team talk's gone out the window. 5 minutes, they would have said first 10-15 minutes keep it tight.
Aguero slipping the ball into the box again. Ryan Sessegnon, who we believe was playing on the left side of attack for Fulham today, is the deepest Fulham player to get back there and to clear. No chance of an attack so far.
Well, it's the same with Cyrus Christie on the other side. He's played as a fullback.
Here's Walker, the fullback who's playing as a winger for Manchester City, and they win a throw.
Yeah, that's right. And both Man City fullbacks are playing as wingers today. They're all past the halfway line, both going together, and Fulham have got every single player back in their half.
Here's Sterling, plays a 1-2 with David Silva. De Bruyne, a little pocket of space for him, just caught under the legs of Sterling, still able to reel it in. Gundogan free on the edge of the penalty area to strike, and he stings the palms of Rico. Danger still not away. Bernardo Silva on the volley gets it back into the box. towards David Silva, who'll recover on this near side of the pitch. It's one-way traffic. It has been for the whole of these 13 and a half minutes. De Bruyne, David Silva, Aguero edge of the box, trying to shift it to create some space. Moves it across. Bernardo Silva turning, so tidy in possession, even in a packed penalty area. Kyle Walker hangs it in from deep. David Silva around the back, although didn't generate any power whatsoever on the header. And Sergio Rico can grab the ball and keep hold of it for as long as possible as Fulham try and catch their breath.
Yeah, Manchester just moving the ball about at will, movements off the ball, and it's Bernardo Silva there with a shot from just at the edge of the box that the goalkeeper couldn't parry.
And he scuffed a kick out after playing a 1-2 with his centre-back and almost presented it on a plate to Aguero. You can hear the cheers rather sarcastically from Fulham, although it was impressive the way they looked to play the ball out in the end towards halfway in Manchester City fashion, but they give it away before they even reach halfway.
I think Manchester City almost want them to get the ball and pass the ball into midfield, because they'll close them down, because they're just not good enough to do that at the minute. Fulham.
Here's Otamendi. He's halfway inside the Fulham half. Laporte is the player back holding the fort on halfway. So comfortable in possession to pass the ball around and to pick out Zinchenko moving forward now on the left. Zinchenko getting it into the chest of Aguero, cushions it off beautifully. Ball back by David Silva. Aguero, Sterling struck it, deflected. Bernardo Silva for a second. And Fulham having to throw bodies in the way at every angle, on every occasion possible, just to survive here.
I've never seen anything like this. They were lining up to score there. Silva could have had a shot, played it across to Aguero, who then played it across again. It's like they're just lining up to have a shot at goal.
Listen to the olés from the home fans here. It is certainly sarcastic now as they move the ball around in a triangle just off the edge of their own penalty area. At least the Fulham fans are enjoying it.
Yeah, that's right. And Fulham now are just moving the ball about, but then it goes long.
Aguero, De Bruyne is in straight away and stopped by Sergio Rico. He didn't catch it cleanly, De Bruyne. Perhaps the clearest sight of goal yet for a Manchester City player, but they look like they could score every time they get the ball. And for all of those passes at the back from Fulham that the home fans were sarcastically cheering, they gave it away, and in a flash City were in.
And that's what they do. They get the ball back, and it's the runners. He's a midfield player, De Bruyne, and he's ran past Aguero to get on the ball. And again, there was Sterling to his left, decided to have a shot, didn't quite get hold of it. I think if he had got hold of it, it would have been 2-0.
He's only scored one Premier League goal in nearly a year now, Kevin De Bruyne. Quite remarkable when you think of his form over the last couple of seasons. He's averaged 17 assists in the Premier League across the last two campaigns. That's an average, not a total. And Fulham have pitched it back here from Manchester City. Babel, halfway inside the Manchester City half, 16 and a half minutes in. His cross-court ball was deflected though, and now a chance for Sterling to try and burst away. He beats the turf in frustration because he thought he was fouled by Zambo Anguissa, whose name I've just said for the first time 17 minutes in.
Yeah, that's right, and I think it was a high foot. I don't think Anguissa caught him, and I think the referee was spot on with his decision there.
We have played 17 minutes here on Premier League Live. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1, but it's 11 shots to 0 for Manchester City. 11 shots in 17 minutes.
I've not seen anything like this. Unbelievable from Manchester City. The dominance, you know, the way they take care of the football, it's been impressive.
Here goes Christie. Fulham at least getting into the Manchester City half as he plays a 1-2 with Aite. Bernardo Silva back to get on the ball. Close down in a right back position, facing his own penalty area, and Fulham have got it back here. Now a few cheers of encouragement from the Craven Cottage faithful. Zambo Anguissa moves it on. Aite. The first time they've put together a few passes in the Manchester City half, and they'll win a free kick here, just a yard or two off the corner of the penalty area.
I think that's what they've got to do. They've got to just keep the ball in the attacking third, which they've done. And it's Kearney who's just gone off played a little 1-2, just got caught on the edge of the box. And it was Otamendi who's complaining about the free kick, definite free kick, right on the edge of the box. Dangerous area. Well, Fulham are going to have to absolutely make the most of moments like this.
The first sight of goal, even a sight that they have had of the goal that has been captained by the spectator, Edison. It's just a couple of yards off the far corner of the penalty area. And a couple of players in contention to take it. There's 4 Fulham shirts in the box, 3 more lurking on the edge here.
I think it's opportunities like this that Fulham have got to try and capitalise on with a bit of quality from this free kick.
In comes the ball, left-footed. It's a really good delivery as well towards the red hair of Ryan Babel, but it skimmed off his forehead and wide of the target.
Yeah, it was a decent ball there, and Brian, and in swing, and it's just and it's Babel who's got in between the defenders, looking probably a touch offside, but he's got his head on it, couldn't quite get it on target.
And that is the only chance so far for Fulham as we approach the 20-minute mark. We just couldn't quite stretch enough to get the right power and direction on it. And Manchester City back on the ball, and for all of their dominance in these opening 20 minutes, Rufus, it is still a contest until they score a second goal.
Yes, it is. You know, and as we've seen there, anything can happen from a free kick, corner. You know, it just needs one lapse of concentration for Fulham to get back in it. But while it's 1-0, it's still a game.
Fulham with the worst form of any Premier League team over the last 10 games, taking just 3 points from a possible 30. City have the best form across 10 games, only dropping 3 points out of 30. They lead here by a goal to 0. The ball is back with Edison, who gets a touch. Only to play a 2-yard pass to Laporte. Now Otamendi. Out to the right back Walker, who's over halfway already. City have just slowed it down a touch here.
They came out of the traps really quick, and now they're just keeping the ball, moving it about.
Now the quick passing starts again as they enter Fulham territory. Zinchenko. Christie wins it back off him though. Haiti let it run on to Babel. Back it goes though to Fosu Mensah, and they'll try and pass their way out from the back again. A left-footed kick across towards the far touchline was kept in play very nicely. It was a high pass out from the back by Le Marchand. And Fulham have done well to emerge with the ball here as they sweep it across to this near side where Christie is forward now. Babel dribbling back towards halfway, he finds Sambo Anguissa. And Fulham finally starting to settle.
Yeah, they are. They're getting the ball right, getting some passes together.
Haiti has done well to dribble clear of Walker, who gets back in front of him, and they'll go back to halfway and start to try and move the ball around, to move the Manchester City defenders around. Everybody in City dark blue back behind the ball now. It's clipped over the top of Sterling to Babel, but he's forced to dribble back into his own half. It's one thing getting back on the ball and putting a few passes together. It's an entirely different thing trying to play through the lines of Manchester City. They have done it well here. Sessegnon moves it on. Aita, he's going to have a go. Drilled into the back of the City defender. Deflected away. Might still come for Sessegnon in the penalty area fortuitously. And City making a meal out of clearing this. Zinchenko gets his head to a bouncing ball. And we're struggling to play the ball out there.
Well, they're making a contest now. They're closing them down. And they'll take big encouragement from the last 5 minutes, Fulham.
Fulham playing without their top scorer, Alexander Mitrovic, here today. He's watching on in the crowd at Craven Cottage. Tim Ream and Jean-Michel Seri also absent from the squad today. 3 players who started the 2-1 defeat to Liverpool here in the last game. Here goes Bernardo Silva through the gears now, looking to move it on. David Silva though lost it as it was played behind him, and he couldn't figure out which way the ball was coming from. Laporte scuffs his clearance, but only to Zinchenko after Fulham played a high ball over the top. Midway point of the first half here on Premier League Live. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
That's what they're looking for at times. Fulham looking to turn it and use Babel's pace in behind, and very nearly got in there, but Laporte was equal to it.
Zinchenko, the 22-year-old playing at left back, moved in field, now slipped forward by David Silva, almost came for Aguero, but Fosu Mensah got a vital touch to deflect the ball back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, and if he didn't, it would have been Aguero in on goal. But it was a good little touch there from Fosu-Mensah.
Fulham persistent in playing the ball out from the back. They have moved it towards halfway here. Joe Bryan goes backwards though. And then they go all the way back to Sergio Rico. He swings it out over the head of Christie, something to chase maybe in behind for Aite, but he runs out of pitch as the ball goes out of play in front of Scott Parker. Finished his playing career here at Fulham after time with Charlton, Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham and Spurs.
To slow down the game a bit now. Manchester City just moving the ball nice and slow, but when they get into the final third, I'm sure the tempo will get quick.
And trying to breach the final third here, but a cross-pitch ball intercepted by Christie, and Fulham back with the ball at the feet of Fosu-Mensah. A few nice moments of passing the ball through the thirds now from Fulham as Aite tries to get on the end of this and does get momentarily penalty area side of Laporte, who gets back at it. Fosu-Mensah, he goes across the pitch from right to left where it's intercepted, and now Fulham are out of position and City are back on the attack. Gundogan in the centre circle, gliding forward, skips away easily from Zambo Anguissa, who fell to the floor. David Silva moves it on. Raheem Sterling now near edge of the penalty area, slides it low, and it seemed to roll agonisingly through the 6-yard box before somebody finally decided to clear.
Well, it rolled across the 6-yard box, and I think if anyone made a gamble, I think Silva tried to get in there, was a little bit late. But it was a clever ball from Sterling.
It was David Silva at the near post, Aguero at the far post, wasn't it? Had it been the other way around,
yes,
you have to imagine Aguero would have been on that in a flash. Aite. Kearney moves it back. Callum Chambers. Joe Bryan at left back. Goes back to Chambers again. And they pass it in their own penalty area. Le Marchand out to Zambo Anguissa. Again, they're passing the ball nicely here, Fulham. Showing no fear now. Here's Christie getting forward on the right wing. His attempted infield ball deflected off the heels of De Bruyne, but then hoofed out of play for a Fulham throw about 20 yards from the corner flag on this near side.
Good confident passing from Fulham. Passed their way out to the back into the final third, and it's Christie who just couldn't quite get a decent cross in the box.
Zambo Anguissa goes back to Fosu-Mensah on halfway. The game plan clearly for Fulham offensively now is to pass the ball away from that Manchester City press.
Yes.
You have to give them credit for at least trying that, but they've given it away again here. City on the attack straight away. Bernardo Silva is a heavy touch. The pass was fist into him by David Silva. Tough to handle.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva there, hands in his head. He knows, oh, here he is.
He's pitched it back straight away. Aguero in the penalty area. Skips away from one. Chips it over the top of Sergio Rico. That is how quickly Manchester City can hurt you. Sergio Aguero scores his 29th of the season, his 16th already this calendar year, and the City surge to the summit continues, on course for a 7th straight league win, on course for top spot again.
Just when Fulham were getting a little bit of confidence, the ball gets played to Bryan, who I think it's a poor pass from Bryan. In comes Silva, and he's got to Aguero in the box. He's gone past 3 Fulham players and just puts it in the top corner. And that's how quickly it can change. 2-0 Man City. Fantastic finish.
Tremendous burst of pace over just a few yards to get away from the last Fulham defender, and the finish, the angle is closing, isn't it? On the edge of the 6-yard box, Sergio Rico coming out to his near post to make himself big, and you would expect a low shot drilled maybe across goal, or even trying to catch the goalkeeper off guard at his near post, but instead it was a scooped effort over the top of Rico.
It was a wonderful finish, but again, the 2 goals that Manchester City have scored, they've been loose passes from Fulham in the final third, and they've just attacked them and got in the box and scored, and that was brilliant from Aguero.
Just as we were saying, Fulham putting a few passes together, but you always sense that could happen. They've given the ball away so many times in trying to play out of the press, and although they've been successful at times in at least getting towards the final third of the pitch. They've given it away more times than they've successfully got over halfway.
Yeah, they have, and you're playing against a team that you give the ball away in the final third. With the players that they've got, that you're going to get punished, and they've been punished the 2 times that they have given it away. They've been punished.
It's a City attack that scored 13 goals across the previous 3 games, 3 each against Swansea and Watford, and 7 of course against Schalke in the Champions League. 2 in the opening half an hour here at Craven Cottage. You have to expect there will be more to follow. And the chances they've created and the players they have at their disposal.
Yes, and you know, you look what's on the bench as well. It's very, very impressive.
29 minutes gone here on Premier League Live. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Otamendi halfway inside his own half. They'll take their time now. Laporte, Gundogan, the deepest of the midfield players. Zinchenko. Gundogan just checks the rear view mirror to make sure nobody was closing him down. Moves it out to Zinchenko. Swiftly forward to Sterling from David Silva. Absolutely brilliant. But so too was the challenge from behind from Fosu Mensah. It would have been a clear penalty had he got that wrong.
Well, it was behind, and I think he just got the ball. But to be fair, the referee was right on, and he could see, and he just waved play on. We'll have a look at it again. But he's got him behind. He's got the ball at the second attempt. I mean,
he goes down, doesn't he? He misses it on the stretch, but then as he's still sliding, he has another kick at it and touches it.
Yeah, but he's gone in the first one. He's gone down the first time there. He's on the way down. Then he's caught the ball as he's going down. The ref's right on it, and he's pointed. He's got the ball.
Fulham with Route 1 stuff now this time. Ryan Babel picks it up on the right flank. Drills the cross in towards the near post area where Sessegnon was coming across from the far side of the box to the near side, but in the end it bobbles harmlessly back to Ederson. He gives it away, trying to get Aguero moving straight away. Here's Kearney. Now Zambo Anguissa. Through to Ryan Babel. Gundogan snapping at his heels, wins it back, then turns away sharply from Sessegnon on the edge of his own penalty area, and Sessegnon is furious now as he throws his arms about, complaining at the decision from the referee and the way Gundogan went down, but Gundogan was in complete control there.
Complete control. You've seen it a couple of times. When he gets the ball, he's looking around to see what's around him, and he did then. He knew what he was doing. Little drag back and invited the challenge, which was a free kick.
The noise you can hear right now is from the travelling Manchester City fans, who sense another win is on the cards already. We've only played just over half an hour in this one. The win would take them 1 point ahead of Liverpool, having played the same number of games. Liverpool, of course, playing Tottenham tomorrow. Aguero almost pouncing on the edge of the Fulham penalty area again. It's hearts in mouth stuff, isn't it, in terms of Fulham's defending. It's about as last ditch as you can get. The kind of defending you expect at the end of a game, really.
Yeah, that's right, and causing their own problems at times, Fulham.
Here's Babel. They are in the Manchester City half now. Kearney tries to dig one over the top. Walker stretching his neck muscles to try and divert it away. Didn't really get any length on the header, and Joe Bryan picks it up. Goes back to Callum Chambers. He's dribbled away from one and slipped in. Sessegnon here, who's round the back, fighting across the face of goal, and it was pushed away by the diving Ederson at the near post.
Yeah, that was a chance there, but Man City on the attack there. It was good play from Bryan there on the left-hand side. Went to Sessegnon, who drove it low and hard. Good strong hand from Ederson to push it away.
Zinchenko to Sterling. Gets it back again. The man at left back today. Gundogan chipping over the top towards Raheem Sterling, and it's too long and out for a Fulham goal kick. We can have a look at that chance that Fulham created just a moment ago. You can see what Sessegnon is trying to do. Ryan Babel is completely free at the back post, would have had a tap in, but it was too close to the goalkeeper in the end.
Yeah, it was. He's gone low and hard, but the goalkeeper's read it. Good strong hand from Ederson. He's pushed it well out the box.
Babel flicks the goal kick from Sergio Rico forward, but Ultimately, it ends up in the hands of Edison in the Manchester City penalty area. Gundogan. Dribbling towards halfway in the centre circle. Otamendi. Fulham second from bottom in the Premier League, but a whopping 13 points away from safety. They've only taken 17 points from the 31 games prior to today. They certainly don't look like taking any from this as Manchester City come forward again. David Silva tries to stab it towards Sterling in the penalty area, which was packed full of those white shirts. City win it back straight away. David Silva across to Bernardo Silva. He tries to caress it down the line for Aguero. Chambers across to clear. Otamendi quickly out in front of Babel. De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva. So many players in the Manchester City ranks who can keep hold of the ball so well. And they win a corner here as it slipped down the line where Joe Bryan was there on the slide to deflect it.
Every single Manchester City player is comfortable on the ball, including Edison. You know, the way they caress the ball and move the ball about. And the movement off the ball as well. It's very, very difficult to combat.
City had 5 corners in the first 10 minutes. This is their first since. It's almost 35 minutes in. Swinging corner to the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away. It'll reach Zinchenko, out to Sterling here. In a deep crossing position, he lines one up and gets it in almost like a free kick. It dropped towards the back post and behind for another corner.
That's how much, excuse me. That's how much time he had on the ball. He controlled it, took a couple of steps back, and then just whipped it into the far stick.
Gundogan across to take this one, so 2 corners in quick succession again for Manchester City, who have a 2-0 lead 35 minutes in. This one's a little deeper towards Otamendi, who was trying to catch up with it and couldn't get his body behind it, so he diverts it wide of the target.
Yeah, Fulham doing the zonal marking there from corners, and the ball just played in between, and Otamendi just couldn't quite rise and get the ball on target, headed it over the bar.
Manchester City have scored 16 goals across their 6 straight league wins before today, conceded only 2 in that run. They are finding their best possible form at just the right time in the season. 11 straight wins in all competitions, keeping that dream of an unprecedented quadruple alive. And this certainly in terms of the position in the table, the form book and the way it's developed so far, you have to say one of the easiest tasks that they will have on that route towards all 4 trophies.
Just moving the ball at will now, Man City. Just taking their time, waiting for the little gaps to open. And again, it's Otamendi just moving the ball from side to side, Man City. Being very patient.
They were in 5th gear, weren't they, for the opening 10-15 minutes, more like 2nd or 3rd now. Laporte to Otamendi. De Bruyne closed down by 2, but he moved it on. He knew exactly where the Fulham players were behind him. And now City can play into the open spaces. Aguero down the line to Zinchenko. He was closed down well by Fosu Mensah, who catches up with it on the near side to try and keep it in play, but can only clear it a little further down the line for a Manchester City throw.
It's like Manchester City go back to invite Fulham to go and press them so they can play through them.
De Bruyne. Aguero turning 25 yards out. Lovely triangle of passes. It was Silva and Sterling and Silva, but the offside flag was raised.
Good play again. As soon as they get in around the box, Man City, it's quick one-touch play. Aguero into Silva, and I tell you what, he doesn't look offside. Sterling pulls it back, but the flag goes up. It's a tight one.
He looks almost dead level, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's too fast, as I said already, for us to mention the names. That's how quick they're passing the ball. It's certainly too fast for Fulham to deal with, and there it was too fast for the assistant referee to deal with.
That's right. Especially when Man City get in and around the box. It's 1 and 2 touch passing.
And Marchand, Callum Chambers, and the two Fulham centre-backs passing the ball between them. It's cleared away in the end by Sergio Rico, long over halfway towards the head of Ryan Babel. Laporte got it, but then lost it in the air. Otamendi brings it down and restores some calm. Kyle Walker over on the far side in plenty of space. 39 minutes almost on the clock here at Craven Cottage on Premier League Live. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. The goals from Bernardo Silva and then Sergio Aguero. Laporte just walking over halfway. Otamendi. Gundogan. Zinchenko. Laporte forward. The quickness then from Sterling to flick it around the corner, but didn't have the desired accuracy that time, and Fulham able to clear for a Manchester City throw.
Again, just couldn't quite get that pass to Zinchenko, who's running down this left-hand side. It's got a Manchester City throw.
Didn't quite come off that time, did it? But they can almost slow it down and lull you into a false sense of security, and as soon as it gets whipped into one of those front players, the pace quickens.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. That's what they do. They do lure you in, and then when you think you can get the ball, it's that quick play just round you and into the gaps in between the lines, and then they're in on the back four.
Otamendi to De Bruyne. Rolls under his boot as he fails to control. 5 minutes to go here in the first half as Fulham clear towards halfway. Gundogan, Aguero. There goes Gundogan looking to slalom past a couple of challenges, and he's hacked down in the end by Le Marchand. A free kick to Manchester City 30 yards out.
He's been good, Gundogan. He really has. Took really good care of the ball, drove forward when he's had time and space, and he's won a free kick for Man City. Probably about 25 yards out.
And he's in a very central position. Gundogan, who won the free kick, and Kevin De Bruyne are there, as well as David Silva. Fulham wall of three. De Bruyne looks the most likely. The number 17 takes a few steps back, then drives it forward, deflected right in front of goal. Off Otamendi, I think. And Sergio Rico was there to pounce, but Kevin De Bruyne's own teammate took the sting off the shot.
Yeah, he did. It's hit. It's gone through the wall. And it's hit. Is it Otamendi that it hit?
Otamendi is facing the Fulham goal.
Yeah, and it's hit him.
And it hits him on the backside.
Yeah, he's trying to dodge it, and it's hit him and slowed the shot down.
It looked like it was fairly at the centre of the Fulham goal, but it was hit with some pace, wasn't it?
It had some pace and power, and it would have caused the Fulham keeper some problems.
I have to imagine at the very least it would have offered the opportunity for a rebound.
Yes, yeah.
City have the ball with Laporte. Ryan Babel playing on the left side now to intercept and to head away. And the ball out of play for a Fulham throw in their left back position on the far side of the pitch as we look. 3 minutes to go until half time. Fulham will have done well if they can go into half time only down by 2, especially the way Manchester City started.
I've never seen anything like it. First 17 minutes was unbelievable.
They've had 15 attempts on goal in the first half, 5 of them on target, 2 of them in the back of the net. Fulham yet to have an attempt on target. David Silva. Otamendi. Out to the far side. This is where City will look to quicken the pace of the attack. Bernardo Silva, so tricky in tight quarters, twisting and turning. Moves it back to Kyle Walker. De Bruyne now. Walker again from Bernardo Silva. Gundogan with a bit more space. Closed down by Ryan Babel though after a heavy touch, but Fulham unable to get control of the ball. Here's Walker. Out to Bernardo Silva, who'll try again here. Far edge of the penalty area. Back onto his left foot. Joe Bryan trying his best to stick with him. Gundogan will drive it in. A fantastic try as it was rolled back to him on the edge of the penalty area, and he wrapped his right foot around it and tried to caress it towards the far top corner, and it fizzed just wide.
And it's Bernardo Silva just teasing Bryant on this right hand side. Just comes inside, plays it to the edge of the box, and it's Gundogan. You saw what he tried to do. He tried to just curl it into the top corner, and it's not far wide.
It's so close to an absolute stunner of a strike, isn't it? From Ilkay Gundogan, who has scored 5 goals in the Premier League this season. He's matched his best ever goal scoring return, either here or in Germany. A player who struggled with injury, but he's become a key part of this Manchester City team, certainly this season. He's filled the gap left by the injured Fernandinho admirably.
Yes, he has.
Otamendi intercepting on the edge of the Manchester City box. We're into the final minute of the first 45. Sambo Anguissa, back heel, and Fulham give the ball away, trying the tricks.
A little back heel at the edge of the box. Didn't quite come off.
Now they have a chance to get in though, far side of the penalty area to arriving in the box. It's a cross goal and just wide, but also just past everybody. It beat the goalkeeper, but it was out of the reach of the Fulham players arriving at the back post.
Yeah, and it was Aite used his pace to get in behind. Just plays it back to Bryan, who whips the ball right across the face of the goal. And it just goes out for a corner.
Christie the closest to catching up with it, but still very difficult for him to try and reach it. Such was the pace of the ball in. Nobody got a touch, so it's a goal kick, and Edison will take it as we move into the only added minute at the end of the first 45. Sterling challenged by Fosu Mensah. Aguero might still be one more chance in the first half for Manchester City. David Silva. Here's Kevin De Bruyne just off the edge of the D. He has a swipe at it with his left boot, but he drags the shot well wide.
Yes, and he's there. De Bruyne, we've seen, we know what he can do from that distance. Just gets it back onto his left side. Tried to put a little bit of curl on it. Didn't quite get it right and flew over the bar.
Just seeing a shot of Pep Guardiola. Sat down in the Manchester City dugout. He'll be very happy with this first half performance of Manchester City. And that is it for the first half. City came out all guns blazing, absolutely superb in the opening 20 minutes. Goals from Bernardo Silva and Sergio Aguero have given them a 2-goal cushion. They have been dominant for the most part at Craven Cottage. Half-time score, Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. Talk Sports International Service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool.
Liverpool! And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester.
Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the preview show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the preview show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the preview show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Manchester City from Craven Cottage. It has been a stroll in the sunshine for City so far. 28 goals in all competitions this season. For Sergio Aguero, 15 of those have come since the turn of the year. Here he is again now, turning on the edge of the Fulham box, onto Bernardo Silva. He's in a rich vein of form as well, and that continues with a fantastic strike from 20 yards as he drills it low into the bottom corner of the Fulham net. The international break has done little to cool red-hot Manchester City. He's pitched it back straight away. Aguero in the penalty area, skips away from one, chips it over the top of Sergio Rico. That is how quickly Manchester City can hurt you. Sergio Aguero scores his 29th of the season, his 16th already this calendar year, and the City surge to the summit continues, on course for a 7th straight league win, on course for top spot again. And that is it for the first half. City came out all guns blazing, absolutely superb in the opening 20 minutes. Goals from Bernardo Silva and Sergio Aguero have given them a 2-goal cushion. They have been dominant for the most part at Craven Cottage. Half-time score, Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Rufus Brevitt alongside me, Tim Long for this one. They have been dominant, Rufus, haven't they? But I suppose the only surprise is it's only 2.
I think that is the only surprise. They've been absolute dominant, especially the first 17 minutes, where I don't think Fulham actually put 2 or 3 passes together in the first 17 minutes. That's how dominant Manchester City were. The 2 goals that they have scored, Fulham have gifted them, because loose passes into midfield, they give the ball away, and you do that to Manchester City in the defensive third, you're asking for trouble.
You have to consider the strength of the opposition. Of course, Fulham, one of the weakest teams in the Premier League this season. Some say one of the worst teams in the Premier League ever. But that first 17 minutes from Manchester City, you can't take that away from them. That is about as good as it gets. We mentioned it in commentary. 11 shots in the first 17 minutes of the game.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. And you look at Fulham, I'm sure it would have been keep it tight for the first 15 minutes, don't give an early goal away, and it just goes completely out the window. And Manchester City, I'd say, in that 17 minutes was just sublime.
A game plan absolutely blown out of the water by Manchester City's big hitters. A lovely goal just a few minutes in from Bernardo Silva, and then Sergio Aguero pouncing a delightful finish for the second. Exactly what we expect of these players, just given a sight of goal and they will take it.
And I think that's all they need. You know, you give them a little glimpse, especially Aguero. I mean, there was a lot to do with that finish. He's come in, you expect him to maybe hit it low and hard. He just scooped it over the goalkeeper, and it was a great finish.
And Bernardo Silva looking like an absolute snip now, isn't he, at £43 million?
Well, he's keeping Mane out of the team, isn't he? And you know, Mane is a Mane. He's been, again, brilliant this season, but to keep him out, he's been good, Bernardo Silva.
And they've dominated possession, Manchester City, because they have these players who are so tight and tricky and so efficient with the ball. And Bernardo Silva's somebody who can do that job in the front line, but also in midfield. And it's so fluid, isn't it, the way they move about?
I think he works extremely hard as well. And on the ball, there's times when he's just teased the Fulham left back, just teased him, invited him to make a tackle. And he's just skipped the ball past him and got balls in the box, or at least looked to set Manchester City on the way.
We talked about the Fulham game plan defensively, of they would have wanted to try and keep it compact, something that they haven't done. The game plan offensively was to try and pass the ball out from the back around the City press and move it through the thirds. What have you made of that so far?
It's not worked. I think Fulham, they've tried it, but I think Manchester City have recognised it and basically said, well, go and do it and we'll get the ball off you. And that's what they've done on more than 5 or 6 occasions, where they've just nicked and got the ball when they've tried to play the ball in between the midfield and things like that. So, for me, it's not working. They're looking to, at times, get the ball in behind, using Barbel's pace. But he's up there on his own, and it's very difficult for him to get out.
The second half of this one to come in just a few minutes. Our feature game at 3 p.m. UK time is Manchester United against Watford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, now the permanent manager of Manchester United. Javi Gracia takes his Watford team to Old Trafford. Let's hear from the two managers right now.
When I got the job, we were 11 points behind fourth. Now we've given ourselves a great chance to be in the top 4 and even top 3. So that's got to be the short-term target in the league, and Premier League is vital for us.
I think they have a very good squad, and they can achieve whatever they want. In this moment they are living a good moment. I think they carry on in Champions League. They are playing well in Premier, and I think they are in a good position to improve and to grow. They have good players, they have all they need.
The mood is going to be at a big high at Old Trafford. The expectations are going to be sky high, and that in itself can be a bit of a banana skin. Watford are certainly not going to go there and roll over today, are they?
No, Watford will be difficult to beat. They'll get numbers behind the ball, and we've seen they're not flowing football with Watford, but they're very, very hard to beat, and I think they'll do that at Old Trafford today.
What do you make of that fight for the top 4? Of course, 3rd and 4th still very much up for grabs, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying there.
I think it's going to go to the wire. I think it's very difficult to call. The next couple of weeks will play a big part in that, and obviously Manchester United have got to keep winning games.
And of course a big game for Tottenham tomorrow as they go to Anfield, so Tottenham slipping could drop points again.
Yeah, that's right, and this is where the business end of the season, where it's results that count more than performances, and I think teams will be looking and thinking we've got to get points.
But as I mentioned, our live commentary at 3 p.m. UK time is that game at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Watford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game as a permanent manager after signing that 3-year contract on Thursday. And attention turns to that fight for the top 4. Also turns now to the summer transfer window.
Yeah, that's right, and it's he's got the gig now, and it's important. We'll see what he does in the transfer window, because he's got to obviously look to get players out and bring players in. So it's a completely different job now.
Exciting times at Old Trafford, indeed. Exciting times across town for Manchester City. They're on course to go back to the top of the Premier League table. We'll be back with the second half as they lead 2-0 at Craven Cottage. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal! It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. Is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester.
Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Fulham against Manchester City from Craven Cottage. I'm your host Tim Long, alongside me the former Fulham, QPR and West Ham fullback Rufus Brevitt. This is Premier League Live, and City in command at Craven Cottage, leading by 2-0, just waiting for the players to make their way out for the start of the second half. We're seeing a few City players warming up. Leroy Sané is out on the pitch. Fulham just making their way back out of the tunnel, led of course by the caretaker manager Scott Parker. What will he have said, Rufus, to his players at half-time?
I mean, he's played against an exceptional team, and I think there was after the first 17 minutes, Fulham got into the game. These passes that they're playing out from the back, I think if you're going to do it, you've got to be sure you're passing, because they're under no pressure and they're giving the ball away. I think he'll be really, really disappointed with the passing.
City making their way out as well now. They've won each of the last 6 league meetings between these two. They won 3-0 at the Etihad in September, as well as a 2-0 home win in the League Cup in November. They've actually scored 10 goals, make it 12 now without reply across the last 3.5 meetings with Fulham. Almost a decade since Fulham last beat Manchester City, a 3-1 Premier League win at the Etihad back in April of 2009. Clint Dempsey with a couple of goals that day. And it would take something remarkable here today even just to leave with a point. They will be attacking the goal across to the left in this second half in their white shirts, white socks and black shorts. City attacking the goal across to our right in the dark blue and fluorescent green. Fulham about to take the kick-off. No changes at the half, so for Fulham it's Sergio Rico in goal, a back four of Fosu Mensah, Chambers, Limarchon and Bryan, and a midfield of Kearney, Zambo Anguissa, Christie and Sessegnon, and then Babel and Ayite trying their very best to attack, although Fulham rarely doing that. For Manchester City, Edison, there's the goalkeeper, the back four, Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Zinchenko, the midfield, De Bruyne, Gundogan and David Silva, and the front three, Bernardo Silva and Aguero, who've both scored, and Raheem Sterling. City pass the ball across from right to left now. Otamendi out towards the right, a stray pass behind De Bruyne and straight to Scott Parker.
Yeah, and is again under no pressure. You don't really see that very often from Manchester City. A misplaced pass goes out for a Fulham throw-in.
City do have an outstanding goal-scoring record in this fixture. They've found the net in each of their last 24 matches against Fulham now. It's a run that stretches back an eternity, it seems. Even before the days of their dominance of the domestic game. And it is becoming, especially now under Pep Guardiola, a dominance of Manchester City that they will hope can ultimately mirror the Manchester United team of the 90s and the noughties. That's the aim, but I suppose the big prize is still the one that's got away from them, isn't it? The Champions League.
Yeah, I think, they're looking at that massive game against Tottenham in that.
Sessegnon challenging De Bruyne, pitching it back for Fulham, playing a 1-2 with Babel. Sessegnon looking to quicken the pace here. He skipped past the challenge of Sterling and then ran into two more Manchester City players, still able to keep Fulham in possession. Here comes Bryan down the left. Hangs the cross in, very deep, very high, too deep, too high, and out and behind for a goal kick.
And once you get into that final third as Fulham have, you need a little bit of quality. And Bryan there, you saw what he tried to do, overhit it, and it's gone over the bar for a Manchester City goal kick.
So many players right around the edge of the penalty area as Ederson gets ready to take the goal kick. City have two midfielders stood on the edge of the box.
Still trying to pass
the two centre-backs are stood a couple of yards off the byline on the side of the penalty area. In the end, it was long from Ederson and given away. Christie. Silva pitches it back, but illegally so. The referee blows his whistle. Free kick to Fulham on halfway, taken quickly. 3 minutes of the second half played here. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Ball long down the left flank towards Sessegnon, who puts his hands above his head to applaud at least the vision, if not the execution, as it goes too long and behind.
Yeah, you saw what he tried to do, just lift it over Kyle Walker into the running space, overhit it, and it's gone out for a goal kick again.
It is the best attack in the Premier League against the worst defence in the Premier League here today. And given City's dominance in the first 45 minutes, 2-0's not bad right now for Fulham. At the very least, they will want to make it a respectable scoreline, but Manchester City coming forward again. Bernardo Silva, Fulham fighting to win it back. Posu-Mensah passing the ball out. It's moved on here to Ayite. And now one further on this near side to Kearney, back to Ayite again, and string a few passes together. Fulham, that little patch of shade on this near side of Craven Cottage starting to creep slightly over the pitch, and Fulham moving the ball around in that now. Zambo Anguissa, pressed by David Silva, back to Callum Chambers. Immediately he looks all the way back to the goalkeeper Rico. Le Marchand, pressed by Aguero, scuffs his clearance straight into Manchester City possession. Aguero wins the loose ball, but David Silva can't get a hold of it, and Fulham get over halfway with Bryan. It was a fist ball back to Callum Chambers, who couldn't really do anything with it, but put it back the way it came from. Unfortunately for Fulham, it deflected out of bounds for their throw. Pep Guardiola is now out on the edge of his technical area, looking to make sure his players stick to the task, keep their foot on the pedal. Chambers with the cross ball, and comfortably intercepted by Zinchenko, back to Ederson. Five minutes into the second half, Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. City haven't really got going yet.
No, they haven't. You look at the way the first half started, they've been they haven't really come out the traps at all. Again, couple of loose passes from Man City, loose touch there from Sterling. You know, Fulham started the better.
Fulham give it away. Callum Chambers under no pressure whatsoever at the back, trying to move it around the defence and across to the left side to Bryant, but it was nowhere near him, and out of play for a Manchester City throw halfway inside the Fulham half. City usually are relentless. They're not a team to get a 1 or 2 goal lead and then sit back.
No, and I think the managers, it's down to the manager. It's a perfectionist.
Gundogan from De Bruyne. This is better from Manchester City. David Silva. Back to De Bruyne. One-touch passing now from City. Walker joins the attack. Out to Bernardo Silva, scorer of the first. Down the line goes Walker. Tries to get the cross in, blocked off by Sessegnon. And City have to settle for a throw that time.
And there's that movement again from Man City. Walker linking up well with Bernardo Silva down this right-hand side.
Gundogan's cross charged down by Kearney. This time City have a throw right in front of the two bosses, Guardiola and Parker. And they go back and start from square one with Edison. 81 goals in 30 and a half games now in the Premier League for Manchester City. And they came in averaging 2.6 goals a game. And they scored 2 in the first half of this one. How many more will follow? Bernardo Silva, lovely ball down the line to De Bruyne. He tries to pull it back, stuck to all the way though by Chambers, and City have a corner this time.
Yeah, again, it's that movement again from De Bruyne. He's come short and then just run in behind. It's Chambers that was chasing him. Couldn't quite get the ball in the box. Good block from Chambers.
Kevin De Bruyne now right in front of the Manchester City travelling fans in this corner to our right on the near side of the pitch, out swinging towards the near post, headed away as far as Kyle Walker. That was City's 8th corner of the game. Fulham are yet to have one. Here's De Bruyne getting in behind Zambo Anguissa, pulls it back to the edge of the box, and it's fired well over the top by the centre-back Nicolas Otamendi.
Yeah, and it's Otamendi who stayed up. It was a good ball from Kyle Walker. Good play from De Bruyne, just cuts inside, plays it to the edge of the box, and that's a centre-off shot high over the bar.
Talking about Manchester City keeping their foot firmly on the accelerator, you at the same time can't discount the possibility of the title race going to goal difference. City are very, very good in that regard. Liverpool, though, with a watertight defence this season and an attack that's not too far behind City's. It could be fine margins. Sterling into the penalty area, lost his footing though, and lost the ball in the process. Fulham looking to move towards halfway. De Bruyne's challenge was skip pass, but the ball at the end of it was off target towards Sessegnon.
Medusa there, he was just skipped inside 2 players, just looking for that little bit of quality to set Sessegnon off down this left hand side. Overhit pass, just goes out for a throw again.
Brian gets his head to it, Aguero trying to pounce on it, and then David Silva moves it across to Raheem Sterling over on the far side. David Silva to Zinchenko, and then again Sterling, Gundogan. Everybody now in the final third of the pitch for Manchester City. Can they figure out the right combination of those quick passes to pick the more robust lock of Fulham's defence since half-time? 10 minutes into the second half, still Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Back to halfway they go. City's goal difference, by the way, is now +8 over Liverpool. Now want a few more. De Bruyne. Back towards Sterling, it bypasses him. Zinchenko gives it to Raheem though. Sterling again. City passing it around at a walking pace at the moment, but it could quicken at any given moment. Sterling closed down by Zambo Anguissa. Twisting and turning and trying to find room to operate. Shot down on the edge of the penalty area, fairly though, and it sparks a Fulham counter-attack here. Kyle Walker, as quick as anybody, has to scamper back into position. Sessegnon gets there first though, tries to nick it around the frame of Walker, who gets right back at it. A healthy battle on this near side. Sessegnon back to Ayite. Can he get the cross in? He can. Ryan Babel was down at the near post though, headed away as far as Zambo Anguissa. He gets around the challenge of Bernardo Silva, finds Joe Bryan. Deep cross from him is a really good one, and Ryan Babel was trying to get across the front of Edison, who got there first to punch it away.
Yeah, good little play from Fulham. Again, it's come here on this left-hand side. The cross was too close to the goalkeeper, but I think Ryan Babel just straight offside.
And just 11 minutes into the second half, Manchester City making their first change. Sergio Aguero will not hit the 30-goal mark just yet for the season. He's going to make way, scored his 29th of the campaign in the first half, and Gabriel Jesus will come on.
Yeah, Jesus, we know that he's someone who loves to score goals, works really hard, and he'll be looking to get on the score sheet here today.
He's already matched his tally from last season with 17 goals in all competitions, although most of them have come in the cup campaigns. Only 6 in the Premier League, where he's been used mainly as a substitute. He scored twice for Brazil against Czech Republic over the international break as well.
It's not a bad player to come on.
He's only 21. City with an abundance of talent. And with a 2-goal lead here as we approach the hour mark. Ball in the hands of the Fulham goalkeeper Sergio Rico. Again, they'll try and play out from the back here, and that is what can happen. Catastrophic, really. Sergio Rico bowls it out to Fosu Mensah inside the Fulham penalty area. He passes it over about 8 yards straight to Zambo Anguissa, who kicks it straight out for a corner.
Because when they do it, they haven't got a clue where the ball's going. Whereas when Man City do it, they know where the ball's going before it comes to them. Anguissa there, it just comes to him, doesn't know, out for a corner.
Corner for City from the far side to be taken by Gundogan. Curls deep towards the back post and over the top of everybody, and Fulham get away with it that time. We talked about that persistence to play out from the back at half time, and you said maybe that's one thing that Scott Parker would want to change. He clearly hasn't. They are going to keep trying it, but they fail more than they succeed.
That's right, and they will just keep conceding more goals because as I say, when you see Man City do it, they know where the pass is before it comes to them, whereas Fulham, they're getting it and thinking, what am I going to do with it?
Well, Manchester City didn't do it so much until Guardiola arrived there, did they? And it's okay for him saying, right, this is the way I want to play with that quality of players, and to say, if you make a mistake, don't worry, keep doing it. It's a whole other thing trying to say that to a group of players that are second from bottom in the Premier League.
That's right. And they're playing with no confidence as well.
There's still only a 2-goal lead for Manchester City. 59.5 minutes on the clock. Here they come with David Silva. A pirouette in the centre of the park. Zinchenko. Gundogan. Back to the young left-sided defender. Charged down by Christie. The attempted cross from David Silva. And he was barged out of bounds, but Fulham get the throw. Mentioning Zinchenko at left wing back for Manchester City, it kind of flies under the radar, the injuries they've had this season as well, because they've still been that good.
And he's been very good as well. Zinchenko, he's come in and he's certainly enjoyed his time in the team. He's playing with a lot of confidence.
Kearney gives it away, only about 10 yards off the edge of his own penalty area. Raheem Sterling drives it across, saved by Sergio Rico, and Bernardo Silva doing his best to pounce on the rebound, but to no avail.
Yeah, and it's a good shot again, and the goalkeeper just parried it out. It went to Bernardo Silva, who would have had a tapping, but it just eluded the bounce.
And it continues to be bizarre, this persistence to play out from the back, as it almost comes back to haunt Fulham again. It's almost like a training session in the press for Manchester City, isn't it?
Yes. Because I'm sure Manchester City will say, let them have it.
Given away by Bernardo Silva on this near side. Kyle Walker trying to flick it around Aite. Walker again, trying to flick it down the line. Fulham trying to press themselves high up the pitch and making it difficult for Manchester City to put a few passes together. They're going to make a change imminently. Just across the hour mark. City move it forward to David Silva, crunching. Proactive challenge by Fosu Mensah, who came flying in with real venom. Raheem Sterling, City have it back in the blink of an eye though. Sterling going down the left wing, and Fulham had to know they couldn't touch him. Even from behind he would go down, and it was Ryan Sessegnon the guilty man, and Sterling wins a free kick for City. Yeah,
he was just got the ball there, just running the ball down, invited the challenge, just nicked the ball away from, I think it was Fosu Mensah that clipped him from behind. But he's down in, he's looking in a bad way, Fosu Mensah.
He has had problems with injury this season already, the man on loan from Manchester United. He's only just got back into the team after the appointment of Scott Parker. Spent most of the time under Claudio Ranieri on the sidelines, partly down to injury, but a lot down to tactical choice as well.
As he's gone into the tackle, Sterling just landed on his ankle and twisted his ankle. Can be really painful, that. But I think he'll be up and ready to go.
It's the France-born Congolese international Niskens Cabano who's going to come on for Fulham. We'll have to wait until after this Manchester City free kick. It's about 5 or 6 yards off the far corner of the penalty area. De Bruyne is there as the right-footed option, looking to curl it in swinging towards the goal of Sergio Rico. David Silva there to offer the outswinger. Which option is it going to be? David Silva runs over the ball. De Bruyne gets it in. Fantastic delivery, and Sergio Rico got his fingertips to it.
It's a fantastic ball in from De Bruyne there. Really teasing. Rico came, got good hand to it. And Fulham get the ball away.
And here comes that Fulham change. It's Floyd Aite who's going to make way. Niskens Cabano, the player coming on. He's made all 6 of his Premier League appearances from the bench, the 27-year-old.
And again, he's another one that's got a bit of pace about him and will be looking to be effective in the final third.
Zinchenko. Plenty of space in front of him, just off the edge of the centre circle. Jesus back to Zinchenko, and David Silva involved in a triangle of passes as well. Flicked by Jesus. Looking to try and get involved is Bernardo Silva on the far side. And the ball challenged out of bounds for a Manchester City throw.
Sterling's come over to this right-hand side. Bernardo Silva occupying the left.
Walker tries to slip in. Raheem Sterling on the right. He gets in behind and then gets clattered by Joe Bryan as the ball goes behind for another Manchester City corner.
It's a good ball from Kyle Walker. Just plays it in behind Joe Bryan. Bit of a heavy touch from Sterling. Gave Bryan the chance to just get back and get the ball out.
It's now 10-0 on the corner count. De Bruyne takes this one short. Tries to get it back from Walker, who was sold a little short, but still able to nick it off the toes of Sessegnon and win another corner. And this time they might just get it straight into the box.
I think he will. I think he's looked at it. I think this one will definitely be going into the box.
I mentioned he's averaged 17 assists across the last 2 Premier League seasons, De Bruyne. He's not had an assist yet this season in the league. And look for one here as he takes the corner, headed away. Recovered by Zinchenko. 66 minutes on the clock. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2 here on Premier League Live. Back to Edison, who was so cool. He passed it only about a yard to the side of Ryan Babel to one of his teammates.
He's very, very good with his feet, isn't he, the Manchester City goalkeeper.
Fulham getting frustrated. They have been frustrated for the vast majority. The challenge on the far side that might well bring the first yellow card of the game. We'll have to wait and see. We're approaching the midway point of the second half, and there is the yellow card for Christie. Right through David Silva.
Well, Silva saw him coming, just played it. Christie just kept going, completely took him out. Deserved yellow card.
Manchester City did all of their damage in the first 27 minutes. Bernardo Silva 5 minutes in, and then Sergio Aguero on 27. Gundogan. If anything, the pace of the City attack slows down more and more the longer the game goes on. So many games to come, maybe their focus is more on those and playing with a lower intensity.
Yeah, well, you know, they're just moving the ball at will now. But this is where it quickens up when they get in the final third. It's like they invite Fulham onto them to close them down so they can play through them.
Zinchenko. David Silva. Paul playing a 1-2 with Gundogan, and De Bruyne getting involved. Zinchenko as well, slip forward. Doesn't come off for City that time, although Fulham give it straight to Raheem Sterling. Now a chance to drive another for Bernardo Silva. A courageous block from Fosu Mensah. Just for a moment there, it was like the first 20 minutes. Fulham having to throw bodies in the way of the ball.
And they're closing down again from Man City. Very, very impressive.
But you feel, Rufus, if City wanted to, they could play at a much higher intensity here and go and get 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it's a case of almost that they're backing themselves to finish with more points than Liverpool rather than needing the goal difference.
Yeah, I think, as you say, if they needed to win, if they needed to score 5 goals today, you think that they could do that. Again, they're just moving the ball. They've got their 2 goals up and at will just moving the ball.
Gundogan. Walker wants it and receives it. Infield off this right side. Sterling is further across on the wing. Gets it back from Walker again. De Bruyne in close proximity as well. Looks to play the quick give and go Raheem Sterling, and De Bruyne's pass had too much on it. We are going to see a second Fulham change. And Andre Schürrle to come on for the captain, Tom Kearney. Fresh legs are certainly going to help Fulham at this stage. They've been chasing shadows for much of these 69.5 minutes.
Yeah, Kearney's someone who likes to get on the ball and get them playing. Hasn't really had the opportunity today because Fulham haven't really seen that much of the ball.
Andre Schürrle on loan from Borussia Dortmund. He scored 6 goals in 22 Premier League appearances this season, but just 1 since November. Him and Mitrovic, the only Fulham players to score more than 2 in the league this season. And they're without Mitrovic today, and Schürrle started on the bench.
And that tells its own story.
Fulham need 2 in the final 20 minutes to have any chance of taking anything. Kyle Walker to get the ball in. A long throw towards halfway. Back to Schürrle. His first touch will try and move the ball on towards the other substitute, Cabano. Edison has it back, under pressure again from Ryan Babel, and he hesitated, thinking maybe he could dribble around the Fulham striker and then played the pass on, but Still always look cool and composed. He's got it back again now. He swings it out across towards this near side to Walker. It bounced up in his hand, but it was inadvertent. And it certainly struck the hand. That's why the Fulham fans aren't happy. But City on the attack here. De Bruyne across it. Drifts beyond David Silva. Recovered on the far side by Bernardo Silva, though. Here's De Bruyne. Plenty of space. 25 yards out. On the right is Raheem Sterling in the penalty area. Tries to play it square along the ground where it's intercepted. And Fulham now will look to clear their lines.
Yeah, a load of bodies behind in the box from Fulham. Sterling got the ball on this right-hand side, tried to play it inside. A load of Fulham bodies in there to clear away.
And now Fulham coming forward on this near side. Brian gets there in behind of Walker. He's trying to get back at him and does. Brian has to turn back and go all the way back into his own half to Chambers. Zambo Anguissa. Square to Fosu Mensah, who's joining in the Manchester City half now. Across to the far side it goes. A chance maybe to get the ball in the box. A rare chance here for Fulham. Cabano moves it back. Christie. He will get it in, although it's too high and plucked out of the West London air by Edison.
Yeah, had a couple of opportunities there to get the ball in, Fulham. And when it finally did come in, it was a poor cross straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Only Liverpool have conceded fewer goals than City in the Premier League this season. They've let in just 21 across nearly 31 games altogether now. Just one in what would be their last 6. If they can keep a clean sheet here. So not just getting better going forward, they're getting better at the back as well.
Yeah, I mean, Man City now, they're in total control, playing the game at their own pace at times. If they want to quicken it up, they can. If they want to slow it down, they do, as they're doing now. Just having a rest with the ball. Let Fulham chase the ball.
David Silva. Forward ball to Gabriel Jesus. Trying to get away from Fosu Mensah. Two young players colliding. Breaks for De Bruyne. And then out to bounce far side. It's going to be a Fulham throw. City players have done an awful lot of travelling, of course, over the last couple of weeks. The international break. And Fulham players clocking up fewer air miles. But City have looked at still full of energy until just dropping in this second half, but you feel that's by choice. Zinchenko clipping Schürrle, and Fulham have a free kick towards the midway point of the City half on the far side.
Yeah, Schürrle there, just getting forward. He had a pass there. I think it was Babel that made a good run down the line, cut back, and Zinchenko on his way back just clipped him. Free kick on this far side.
Schürrle to take it, just a couple of yards off the touchline. Gets it in towards the penalty spot where it's headed by Otamendi. And behind, although it won't be a corner because the flag was raised. So Fulham still searching for their first corner in the game.
Well, it's the second time that the ball's come in and Fulham have strayed offside. Good decision from the linesman.
Kevin De Bruyne will get 74 minutes. He's about to be replaced now by another player who's struggled with injury this season, Fernandinho. And great for Manchester City to have key players back and getting back to full match fitness for this big run-in in the 3 remaining competitions.
Yeah, that's right. It has been very important for them, Fernandinho. Just sitting in there, keep things ticking over. And as we've seen, he's played at centre-half as well.
A quarter of an hour to go here on Premier League Live. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. Plenty more to come for you over the course of the weekend. Of course, the 3 p.m. feature game, UK time kickoff, is Manchester United against Watford. There's Fernandinho breaking forward, trying to slip Sterling in, intercepted though. And Fulham trying to clear away. And of course, one that Manchester City will be keeping a keen eye on tomorrow. Liverpool against Tottenham at Anfield, the game of the weekend. But City very close to completing the job here to get themselves back to the top of the table until Liverpool will play tomorrow. You might have just heard the gasps from the fans here. It's a ball to the face of André Schürrle from close proximity, and he's down hurt. Caught him right on the chin by the looks of it. So we'll have a bit of a stoppage now as Schürrle receives treatment. I mentioned, Rufus, all of the travelling for City players over the international break. This is their fourth game back from an international break this season. Their scores have been 3-0 against Fulham, 5-0 against Burnley, 4-0 at West Ham, and 2-0 here, so it's hardly hampered them, has it?
Well, they obviously like the travelling, but no, when you've got a manager like Pep who's relentless in what he does, you know, and that transmits to the players the desire to win a game of football. I think it's there for everyone to see.
Walker back to Edison, the game back underway. André Schürrle okay to continue. Fernandinho. David Silva back to Zinchenko, and they move it across to Walker, who's infield towards Raheem Sterling, hugging this near touchline. Moves out of the shade into the sunshine. And City look to burn bright on the attack again, but Fulham putting feet and legs and bodies in the way. And it looks like at the moment they are going to finish with a fairly respectable scoreline, but it didn't seem like it would be that way after the opening half an hour.
No, it didn't. They came out really quick. Manchester City first 17, 20 minutes. I don't think Fulham put 2 or 3 passes together. That's how dominant Manchester City were.
David Silva. Walker calling for the ball from Laporte. Instead it goes into Fernandinho. Zinchenko. It's a sloppy touch from him. Given away, and a chance now for Cavano to come forward on the right flank, and Zinchenko trying to make amends for that mistake, commits the foul.
Yeah, sloppy touch, just took his eye off the ball. Apologising all round. But he's had a very, very good game, the left back.
So much money spent on this City project, of course. He was just a £1 million signing from a team in Russia back in 2016 at the age of 19. He's had 5 assists in the Premier League this season. And between him and Fabian Delph, they have really made up for the absence to injury of Benjamin Mendy, who of course was a £50 million left-back signing. City have dealt so well with the absence of Kevin De Bruyne for much of the campaign as well. Key players who've been hurt, but the machine just keeps on churning out dominant wins.
Yeah, and I think it just shows you've mentioned the players there that have been out. You know, it just shows the quality of Manchester City squad, that they can deal with players that are missing of that calibre.
On the stretch to divert it to Gundogan with Silva. Gundogan over halfway now, options left and right in the form of Jesus and Sterling. He picks the latter. Sterling on the edge of the box now. Here goes Kyle Walker, who raced the full length of the field to be the furthest forward Manchester City player, the right back, and then he cracked the woodwork as he tried to squeeze it into the near top corner.
Well, you just saw the desire to get round Sterling there. Sterling picked the ball up, just slowed down, waited for Kyle Walker. A weighted pass there. He's hit it high and it's hit the post. Good opportunity there for Manchester City to kill the game, make it 3-0.
Flew like a rocket, didn't he? Down this inside right channel.
Was travelling at some pace as well to get there.
So too was the shot, but thankfully for Sergio Rico, it was off target, only just. We're into the final 10 minutes. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2 here on Premier League Live. Here is Walker back in a defensive position to keep the ball in play, although the Fulham fans clearly feel it wasn't. The play goes on. Fernandinho, Zinchenko. seeing the possession stats. First half was 60% Manchester City, the second half is 72%, but it's been more sterile possession, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's just been keeping the ball, just moving it, just keeping the ball moving.
City have gradually gone down the gears. And they're gradually edging their way towards 3 valuable points. Sterling to keep it in play on this near side. Challenged by Bryan. He gets his body between the Manchester City winger and the ball and then forces the foul from Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling trying to go past him. Bryan did well. Just got his body in the way. And then Sterling just committed the foul.
He's not quite been at his red-hot best here this afternoon, Raheem Sterling. 25 goals for club and country already this season, 8 goals in his last 4 starts. And a hat-trick, of course, for England against Czech Republic over the international break after one in the Premier League against Watford earlier in the month. Also scored against Montenegro. Scored against Schalke in the Champions League.
And that's where he's certainly improved his game. His finishing, Sterling.
Fulham have won a free kick here, just across towards this left side of the field. About 10 yards or so off the edge of the penalty area. A deep crossing position. It's inevitably going to be the left boot of Bryan. He hangs it deep towards the back post. The closest 2 players were both in Manchester City colours. It's headed towards the far side, but Zinchenko fails to keep it in, so Fulham have a throw.
Cyrus who's come over, and I think he's got I was going to say he's got a long throw, but then he throws it short.
Christie dribbling infield off the right flank. Back to Zambo and Guisa. They'll get the cross in from the far side over the top of everybody. Recovered on this near side of the pitch though by Bryan, who contorts his body to scoop it back in, and it's headed back across goal and nodded just wide by Cabana, who is eased out of position mid-air. But a little warning to Manchester City that they can't go to sleep just yet.
Yeah, a little sniff of a chance there. Bryan rescues the ball over here on this left-hand side, high looping cross, and it was Cyrus that just knocked it back in. Cabano couldn't get high enough to head the ball down.
David Silva. Manchester City have had 22 attempts to Fulham's 4, 7 on target to 0. But half of those attempts for City came in the first 17 minutes.
Well, they were electrifying, wasn't they, in the first 17 minutes?
It's the ultimate illustration as to how good they were at the start. Here's Gundogan. They'll look to finish strong as well. It opens up for Gundogan, but he dug underneath the ball to lash it well over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, and he'll be disappointed. He's 18 yards out, edge of the box, no one really closing him down. You saw what he tried to do, just tried to get a bit of curl on it, got under the ball, and it flew over the bar. He'll be disappointed with that.
Six minutes of the 90 to play. Fulham 0, Manchester City 2 here on Premier League Live. Gabriel Jesus taking the ball down on his chest, moving it back to Laporte. Zinchenko. Jesus in a deep position, driving forward off halfway now. David Silva to Jesus again, looking to turn and burst quickly. Surrounded by white shirts, he moves it on though, gets it back in the penalty area very nearly. And he would have been in, but for a last-ditch intervention.
Very sharp Jesus there when he got the ball. Just glided past 2 Fulham players, played it into Gundogan, just couldn't collect the ball back.
Fulham will be desperate to put this one behind them. It's the last big team that they face in the Premier League this season, although they do still have to go to Wolves. It's Watford away next, Everton at home, Bournemouth away, Cardiff at home, Wolves on their travels, and then Newcastle at home to finish. There's games that you would say teams can take points from, but whether this Fulham team can, It's yet to be seen. They're heading for their 7th, in fact make it 8th straight league defeat. There's a challenge from Sterling on the edge of his own box to give away a free kick, and this one is not done and dusted just yet. Fulham hoping to set up a nervy finish.
I think Sterling there frustrated that he lost the ball, tracked back and out of frustration. There's a foul there right on the edge of the box on this corner, on the left hand side corner.
Fulham can somehow get one here, and you never know. To start with, they have to get their first shot on target. The foul occurred only about a foot off the near corner of the penalty area as we look across to the goal over on our left. Plenty of pushing for position in the penalty area. It's Schürrle who takes it, deflected a couple of times, and it lands into the grateful clutches of Ellison. It was like pinball in the penalty area for a moment. 1, 2, almost 3 deflections. Ellison ended up with the ball.
Well, that could have gone anywhere. As you say, it was two deflections. Ederson stayed in the middle of his goal and just collected it the second attempt.
Closing in on another clean sheet. Gundogan skipping away, might be a chance for a City third to finish it. Sterling! Well, that's the old Raheem Sterling.
Well, yes.
Scoops it over the top of the crossbar from 16 yards.
Yes, and it's Gundogan who drove forward again. Sterling just held the right hand side. Held the left hand side. Tried to curl it with his right foot. Again, it went over the bar.
Ryan Babel makes way. Fulham's final change. Kevin McDonald comes on for the final couple of minutes. Looks as though Manchester City are going to make a change as well, with Riyad Mahrez to come on, and that's the last action on a subpar, disappointing afternoon for Raheem Sterling, given the standards that he's set of late.
Yes, he hasn't really, for his standards, but he's been okay. But when you look at Sterling, you know, you expect him to be on it every single game.
I think that's the curse of our boss Tom Rennie, isn't it, who triple captained him in fantasy football this week. 2 minutes of the 90 to play. Here goes Jesus. Fernandinho. Zinchenko to David Silva. Around 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remain as City look to finish as positively as they started. Fernandinho. All of the Fulham players back behind the ball now. Laporte. Mahrez. Walker. City fans making all of the noise at Craven Cottage as we approach the 90th minute.
Man City happy to just keep the ball now. They're moving Fulham from side to side. At times it's walking pace.
Flicked around the corner by Jesus, a quick give and go as he gets it back from David Silva, given away though. And then a free kick to Fulham just off the centre circle. Schürrle tripped. Cabano takes it down nicely under pressure from Walker on the near side. Sambo Anguissa. McDonald has just come on. Sambo Anguissa challenged sharply by Mahrez. The other player has just come on, but he pinches the ball back. Anguissa wants to race down the left flank. Walker trying to catch him up again. He's surrounded by those dark blue shirts. City hunting impacts and frustrating Fulham again.
And that's Mahrez doing his defensive duties there. Right back in the right back area, putting in a good tackle, breaking up the play for Fulham.
We're into the first of 4 added minutes at the end of the 90. It's a result that's never looked in doubt. City flying out of the gates. The opening goal just 5 minutes in from Bernardo Silva. A lovely shot from 20 yards into the far bottom corner. And then 22 minutes later, Sergio Aguero doubling the tally with a dinked finish, rushing in, shooting from the angle over the top of Sergio Rico. You expected at that point the floodgates to really open. They haven't, and give Fulham a bit of credit for that. But Manchester City have chosen, I think, rather than being forced to slow it down.
Yeah, they have. They've played the game at their own tempo. If they wanted to quicken it up, they do. If they want to slow it down, as they've done really for the last 10 minutes, they've just played at walking pace at times.
Callum Chambers. He's sliding in as he almost loses the ball. Right through Mahrez. It is a Fulham throw to be taken by Joe Bryan. He was trying to make up a few yards on this near side. The referee wanted to have a word with a few players as well. Let's try and keep everything in check until the finish here. Pep Guardiola standing in his black trousers and thin jumper on the edge of his technical area, hands in his pockets. It's been about as comfortable as he could have hoped. Fulham trying to provide a bit of discomfort right at the finish as the cross comes in. Away, Cabano will try and keep it in play, but he's nudged into by Walker and it deflects off him behind for a corner.
It's good play from Kyle Walker there. He's showed his pace really all afternoon, and again in attacking he's shown his pace, and defensively there just to get back at the Fulham winger and get the ball down, and it's a goal kick to Man City.
643 passes from Manchester City today at 91% accuracy. We're over the midway point of the 4 added minutes. And they have the ball, passing it efficiently again. David Silva. Otamendi to Laporte. The game's coming thick and fast for Manchester City now in all of the competitions. Cardiff at home on Wednesday, Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final on Saturday, then Tottenham in the Champions League a week on Tuesday, then Palace in the league, the second leg against Tottenham, and then to finish the league campaign it's Tottenham again, Manchester United, Burnley, Leicester and Brighton. Of course they hope for more Champions League and FA Cup games in that run as well. One final attack perhaps for Fulham, although it's cleared away and it might turn into one final attack for Manchester City. Jesus pressed by Fosu Mensah, trying to wriggle free. Ran into a further challenge as Fulham give it to Zambo Anguissa. Fernandinho pouncing right on top of him, forcing Fulham back into their own half. Fulham fans might have expected to be on the receiving end of battering here today. It hasn't been that way. Well, the blue of Manchester City sailing back to the top of the Premier League. The sky is very much the limit for this team as an unprecedented quadruple comes into clearer view on the horizon. One step further towards greatness. The goals early on in a blistering start from Bernardo Silva and Sergio Aguero as Manchester City win in Craven Cottage by 2-0. 28 goals in all competitions this season. For Sergio Aguero, 15 of those have come since the turn of the year. Here he is again now, turning on the edge of the Fulham box onto Bernardo Silva. He's in a rich vein of form as well, and that continues with a fantastic strike from 20 yards as he drills it low into the bottom corner of the Fulham net. The international break has done little to cool red-hot Manchester City. He's pitched it back straight away. Aguero in the penalty area, skips away from one, chips it over the top of Sergio Rico. That is how quickly Manchester City can hurt you. Sergio Aguero scores his 29th of the season, his 16th already this calendar year, and the City surge to the summit continues, on course for a 7th straight league win, on course for top spot again. Sterling on the edge of the box now. Here goes Kyle Walker, who raced the full length of the field to be the furthest forward Manchester City player, the right back, and then he cracked the woodwork as he tried to squeeze it into the near top corner. Rufus Brevitt alongside me, Tim Long, for this one at Craven Cottage today. The final score was Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. City dominant in terms of possession, corners, shots on target. The only surprise is they weren't too dominant in the end in terms of the scoreline.
Yeah, that's right. They've, the blistering start to the game. First 17 minutes, they were. It was the quickest start I've ever seen from a team. Fulham, I don't think, as I said, put two passes together in that period of play. Fulham gave them 2 goals. Poor play from them, but you just felt that Man City were playing at a canter. You really did.
And as I said in commentary, it's as if they've backed themselves to just finish with more points than Liverpool. They go back to the top of the Premier League at least until tomorrow, 1 point ahead of their title rivals on the same number of games. Liverpool, of course, will play an extra game tomorrow, and then City's game in hand comes midweek against Cardiff, a game that you would expect them comfortably at home to take all 3 points from, and then would be even, and they'd be a point ahead.
Yeah, it's hotting up, and I think it's going to go to the wire. I think Manchester City, as I said, with the squad that they've got, I can't see them throwing this away.
And as for Fulham, in the end, perhaps better than expected, and a case maybe of what might have been had the game plan come together from the start. But City were just searing hot in the sunshine today, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, and the first 17 minutes, Fulham literally had no answer, and it wasn't just a possession. It was Manchester City's movement off the ball and the intensity that they played at. Fulham just could not match it.
And players returning from injury, and players who perhaps signed this summer or last starting to find better form as well. We saw a phenomenal opening goal from Bernardo Silva early on. And it just feels, doesn't it, like everything is clicking into place at the right time for Manchester City in this pursuit, not just of the Premier League title, but of course the FA Cup and the Champions League as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Everything is falling into place, and they're getting injuries back. You saw Fernandinho come on for the last 15 minutes, so they're getting everyone back, and they're getting them back at the right time, the business end of the season.
The aim for Fulham now, over the final 6 games of the season, some winnable fixes in there, and Scott Parker's obviously, he's come in and he's trying to make this set of players play in a certain way, as we saw and critiqued across the course of the commentary. Is he going to try and instill a style of playing that he thinks could work if he had the job in the Championship?
Well, I think he's going to have his own style, and you look at what they did, especially trying to play out from the back and getting caught time and time again. It's something that they've either got to work on or change the style.
It takes certainly some confidence, you would say, to try and play that way against this Manchester City team, but it certainly didn't come off today. Goals from Bernardo Silva and from Sergio Aguero in the opening half an hour, giving Manchester City a 2-0 win. The biggest league in the world is very much back up and running, and Manchester City back to the summit. So much more to come for you over the course of the weekend. Manchester United against Watford is up next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. Talk Sports International Service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by Talk Sport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the preview show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the preview show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the preview show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Premier League Live with Talk Sport.
Cleverly on the volley into the top corner. What a strike!
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
Surely it's going to be a goal and it's bundled in.
All the big goals and big moments from the world's biggest football league.
As rare as a dodo's egg, a Newcastle goal.
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
It will get through it first. Oh, finds the finish. Wonderful goal from Marcus Rashford.
Premier League Live with Talk Sport.
A very good afternoon. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester United against Watford from Old Trafford. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Crystal Palace, Aston Villa and Charlton Athletic winger, Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. Well, it's a beautiful day in the northwest, and a red letter day for Manchester United, because now that the word caretaker has been removed from his office door, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can walk out at Old Trafford as Manchester United's new full-time manager. He's the fourth since Sir Alex Ferguson retired 6 years ago. The Norwegian's coronation comes as little surprise given the renaissance the club has enjoyed in the 3.5 months since he replaced Jose Mourinho. In that time, United have collected more Premier League points than any of their Big Six rivals. They've reached the quarter-finals of the Champions League and recaptured a joie de vivre, which was sadly lacking under his predecessor. That said, Solskjaer comes into this match having suffered back-to-back defeats in the league against Arsenal and then the FA Cup at Wolves, and he'll be desperate to prove that the honeymoon isn't quite over yet. His opposite number, Xavi Gracia, has worked similar wonders at Watford. The Hornets are 8th in the table with an FA Cup semi-final to look forward to next weekend and European football next season a genuine possibility. They've never won a league game at Old Trafford, but the Spanish boss and his informed side, who've won 5 of their last 7 matches, might just be in the mood to spoil Solskjaer's party.
Well, the new full-time United boss makes 4 changes to the team he put out in that disappointing cup tie against Wolves 2 weeks ago. David De Gea returns in goal as expected. Ashley Young is back from suspension. Phil Jones has recovered from illness. And Juan Mata also starts. Out goes Sergio Romero, Victor Lindelof, who became a father last weekend, Diego Dalot and Jesse Lingard. Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial and Luke Shaw, who all missed their respective international fixtures in the week that's passed, have recovered and start. Watford's changes are all defensive, with the replacement of an entire back 4, or you could say back 5, with Ben Foster back to replace Aurelio Gomez. Kiko Femenia, Craig Cathcart, Adrian Mariappa and Jose Holebas are all rested, perhaps with the FA Cup semi-final against Wolves next week in mind. In come Daryl Janmaat, Miguel Britos, Christian Cabasele and Adam Messina. I'm delighted to have the venerable Paul Mortimer alongside me for this one. Let's first of all just talk about Solskjaer. He deserves the job full time.
Yep. Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, of course he does. I mean, he could have done no more, really. No. He's done a fantastic job. I know they've come off with a couple of defeats, but that apart, he's put a smile on their face. The players are happy. They're enjoying their football. And when you've got happy players, you often are quite successful, and they've done really well in the short term.
And he's got key men fit, because I think some international managers might be raising an odd eyebrow, because Marcus Rashford missed the England internationals, as did Luke Shaw. They're both playing. Anthony Martial missed France's games as well, but you've got those players available. Lingard is on the bench as well. Jones is back from illness, so he's put out the team that he'd very much want to, despite we've been discussing all week about who may or may not play. It's good on the injury front.
Yes, it is. Everyone's getting fit. Competition for places is there. The bench becomes very, very strong as well. Yes. So the ones on the in the first 11 know they've got to play to a standard. They've got to perform today. Otherwise, there's definitely people hungry to take their spot on the bench.
And Watford, I mean, obviously they've got a semi-final against Wolves next Sunday to look forward to. Huge occasion for the club. He's completely uprooted his defence, hasn't he? I mean, Ben Foster returns as we'd expect. Adrian Mariappa is not even on the bench. I presume he's being rested. He's in his 30s. Jose Holebas had an injury problem in the victory over Crystal Palace, so understandably he's not risked. Is it a case of concentrating on the cup now rather than the league for the Hornets?
I think so, and I think they've got Fulham midweek, haven't they, at home?
Yes,
so they've got it's going to be another change, but what they don't want to do, you want to take momentum, so they want a good performance today. They don't want to put out a team that's going to get beat and beaten up as well. So they want to put out a team that's competitive. This is it. I think this is a good team. They're experienced players. If they turn up, if they defend properly, they've got enough going forward to give Manchester United a game today.
They've got an awful record at Old Trafford. The only time they've ever won there in any competition was in 1978. A player you and I will remember. I'm not sure how many of our listeners will. Luther Blissett.
Yes, Luther,
scored
good friend.
twice. Yeah, lovely bloke. Watford legend. Watford were in the 3rd tier in those days. Long time ago under Graham Taylor, but they haven't won since. It's probably about time they did.
That would be the worry for me, John, because just before they played Liverpool and got beat 5 up there, they were playing brilliant, and everyone kept saying to me, no, their record at Liverpool is terrible. And it proved to be the case. So, if normal service resumes today, they could be on the end of a whooping.
But they've been exceptional this season. When you look at the table, I mean, a club of Watford's size, 4th successive season in the top flight, to be 8th in the table, to be in an FA Cup semi-final, with a manager who clearly, we've talked about Solskjaer, but Javi Gracia, I mean, what a fantastic job he's done at Vicarage Road.
The best thing that they've done for him and the club is to keep him.
Yes.
Because, they were changing managers every 2 minutes. And that affects players' performances. Now they know there's a manager who can plan for a couple of years. The players seem to have settled down as well, and they're playing really good football. Do you know what irritates me a little bit with Watford? If a bit more self-belief. I think they'd have been challenging for 5th and 6th. Really, I really do think. Really? I really think they've been that good that we call them the best of the rest.
Yeah.
Just with a little bit more belief, because they can score goals, they can, but it's a consistent thing. If they can consistently continue to perform at that level, in fact, with a couple of good signings, they could be incredibly competitive next next season for 5th and 6th place.
They need to produce better performances against the Big Six, though, Watford. I think they've lost their last 8. They beat Tottenham earlier in the season at home, and that's the only time that they've won against a Big Six club this season. They're up against one today. Earlier, Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. So City, Manchester United's great rivals, back on top of the Premier League table. It means that if it's potentially that game you mentioned, Watford-Fulham, Fulham could go down if they lose that one. A lot of things would have to happen today before. But anyway, Watford concentrating on Manchester United at Old Trafford, a magnificent arena bathed in sunshine. We've got loads of action from around all of the grounds coming up, and we'll be focusing on that in just a moment. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the preview show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the preview show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the preview show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back. Kickoff is 19 minutes away at Old Trafford. The two sets of players out just making their final preparations on a sunlit day in the northwest. It's one of a number of games that we've got for you today. Brighton against Southampton is a huge six-pointer down at the bottom on the south coast. Burnley are desperate for points as well. They play Wolves, who of course will meet Watford next weekend at Wembley in the Cup. Crystal Palace are not safe yet. They play Huddersfield. If Palace win and Burnley and Southampton both win, Huddersfield will be relegated today, and the final game of the 3 o'clock kickoff sees Leicester up against Bournemouth, and that's followed with the evening kickoff, West Ham United against Everton. Let's get a flavour of some of those matches up and coming by hearing from the coaches of those teams.
But this is an opportunity for us, and our first opportunity. We're at home. The points are equally as important to them as it is for us, and it makes it a big game. The fact that we're playing a team that are very close to us in the division.
The most important thing is that you don't go in the last two games, and you have to have wins to stay in, because that's a horrible situation. Nobody wants this. So if we get this 40 points, it's perfect. If we don't need 40 points and 36 are enough, then it's nice. But we are targeting the 40 points, and for this we need 3 more wins and 1 draw. Then we have 40, and the sooner you get these points, the better.
You want as many points as you can get on the table. I mean that sincerely, because recently no one gave us a chance against Tottenham. We won 2-0. So it doesn't mean we've got some tough games, so have other teams. But the fact is, you are capable of winning games, and you are capable of beating even the best teams. Now, of course, statistically, it's harder to beat the best teams, but we are capable of doing that.
Burnley is a very good team, physical, aggressive, well organised. I expect a tough game between two teams that compete well.
I have a lot of sympathy, because I think they're a good football team, and I think the margins, funnily enough, are so small in this league. It's when we've had 2 weeks to research them and watch their games and study their play. And when you do that, you realise they have some very good players and they play some very good football.
No, I think nothing changed for us, because we have the game at the weekend and we can win this game. So why should we talk about something which is not important concerning the next game? So it's important to go there and to prepare for winning.
The squad is full of very talented players, and of course when they play to a high level consistently, and if they're playing for their international teams as well, then of course that will always bring interest. But the club will always do its very best. We know the game. You can never ever sit and say that a player will definitely always be here and stay. All you can do is do your very best.
I don't think we've ever really had the mindset that we're looking over our shoulder. We've always this season tried to look upwards and try and achieve. We've had different spells throughout the season, good spells, bad spells, but every point is huge, and we're desperately trying to still achieve this season while acknowledging the fact that I don't think we're safe yet, and we've still got more work to do.
Well, that was a compilation of today's managers, finished off by Eddie Howe of Bournemouth. Let's go around the grounds now and get the up-to-date team news from all of our 3 o'clock kickoffs. We start at the Amex down on the South Coast. It's 2 South Coast clubs in action. They're both in desperate need of points. Southampton currently 5th from bottom. Brighton just 1 place above them. Russ Hargreaves.
Well, sitting just 5 and 2 points above the relegation zone respectively. Both of these South Coast rivals continue to look rather nervously over their shoulders, and that's despite Brighton having won their last 2 top-flight fixtures, and despite Saints having downed Spurs last time out. This team boss Ralph Hasenhüttl makes 2 changes from that game. In comes Stuart Armstrong and Danny Ings after injury up front. Charlie Austin's on the bench, and there's no Yannick Vestergaard. As for Seagulls manager Chris Hughton, just the 1 change to the team that beat Millwall on penalties in the FA Cup quarter-final. Yves Bissouma starts in midfield, and Baram Kayal drops to the bench. All 3 previous Premier League meetings have ended in draws, but there's little doubt a win for either today would be a big step towards survival. It's Brighton-Southampton at the Amex.
Yeah, that's a huge one down there, and we'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in. Let's go from the south of England up to the north, even further north than Manchester. Burnley are currently 4th from bottom, 2 points above Cardiff. And they are in action at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Our man there is Andrew Self.
Ahead of today's game, the team news from Turf Moor is that Burnley boss Sean Dyche makes just 1 change to the lineup that lost 2-1 at home to Leicester, with Johan Gudmundsson dropping to the bench and Jeff Hendrick coming back in on the right. 1 face missing from the Burnley bench is there's no Peter Crouch. He's replaced by Ben Gibson. For Wolves and Nuno Espirito Santo, they arrive here off the back of a 2-1 win at home against Manchester United in the FA Cup. And Santo makes 2 changes to their last Premier League lineup. Raul Jimenez is replaced by Ivan Cavallero, and Adama Traore comes in for Matt Doherty. Both Doherty and Jimenez drop to the bench. Interesting game for Burnley here. When you look at their remaining fixtures, you feel safety has to be secured in their next 3 games, as their last 4 games are very, very tough.
Yeah, Wolves, like Watford, are perhaps concentrating on a cup semi-final ahead, which will give Burnley a chance to get what will be a huge 3 points for them. Crystal Palace are not quite out of the woods yet, but they might well be if they defeat Huddersfield. Palace currently have 33 points, so a victory you would think would take them very close to safety. Let's get the team news ahead of this one from Dan McCarthy.
Crystal Palace host Huddersfield at Selhurst Park this afternoon, with Roy Hodgson's men still not entirely free from danger, and if they are to survive, they do need to improve their home form. Just 13 points on their own patch this term. They make 3 alterations from their FA Cup quarter-final loss to Watford. Wilfred Zaha returns from injury, along with Scott Dann and Patrick Van Aanholt. As for Huddersfield, the wrong set of results could officially seal their inevitable relegation, as Jan Sievert continues to experiment. 2 changes from their 4-3 loss at West Ham. Jonathan Hogg and Chris Schindler recover from injury and illness respectively. At Selhurst Park, it's Crystal Palace against Huddersfield.
And just a reminder that Huddersfield will be relegated mathematically if they lose that match and both Burnley and Southampton win. The final game of the afternoon has a little bit of a mid-table feel about it. Both Bournemouth and Leicester are comfortable, and they play each other at the King Power Stadium, where Ian St Peters is watching.
It's lost 1 and 1-2 for new Leicester City boss Brendan Rodgers as he continues to stamp his mark on the Foxes' fortunes. Rodgers brings in club captain Wes Morgan to replace Harry Maguire, who's serving a 1-match ban after being sent off in the 2-1 victory over Burnley last time out. With 38 points in the bag, Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe feels his side is still not safe from relegation. He makes 2 changes from the side that drew 2-2 with Newcastle a fortnight ago. Asmir Begovic replaces Artur Boruc in goal, while Dan Gosling replaces Jordan Ibe. Leicester have never beaten Bournemouth in 7 Premier League attempts, but with the Cherries' current form showing 1 away win in 10, Rodgers and his revitalised Foxes will be hoping for another 3 points. Free beer and cakes to mark the birthday of late Leicester City owner Vichai Sravendana should ensure a cracking atmosphere at the King Power.
So that brings you up to date with all of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. There's some big games down there, Paul, in the relegation zone. Fulham have lost again. They've got 17 points. We now expect them to go along with Huddersfield. So it looks like something like 1 from maybe 5 to go down. Now the winners of Southampton and Brighton, if they're a winner, will do themselves a power of good. Brighton would have 36 points, Southampton would have 33, 5 points. So that's potentially the key game, isn't it, today?
It's a big game because a point is no good to either. I would say, Brighton should win it, but Southampton, I think Hasenhüttl's a gambler. I really do. I think he's prepared